Fine respond. Or they're okay with the condition of this letter. That's the key.
Yeah.
Say they'll do it, let's see if they actually do.
Well, and that's why I wanted to on that correspondence going back and forth, because if they start playing with Mike. And it's legally related.
Yep.
I want you to be able to, so hopefully he does that. Cause I want you to be able to, I mean, if you feel comfortable jumping in, jump in.
Yeah.
But if not,
Better
better start seeing what's being said back and forth.
Can't get better yet?
I know you do.
Yeah.
It's still in, it's just not there.
But it did go.
Yeah.
Good, better.
Good. Such a positive guy, you know?
Yeah, I know, but I think the key.
It really is.
So well with the blow up.
Yeah, we can fight about it all the time, but he's positive about it.
Boy, you ought to try it. Like when you really wanna look at something,
Yeah,
it goes like this.
I already complain about these, let alone that.
Hmm.
How's it?
All good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burritos and a sandwich makes me happy.
And it's not.
That's all it takes?
And it's not chicken. Alright. You guys talking into it, made it sound good.
You've been sitting out here for so long, I figured all the sandwiches might be gone.
No, I stayed away as long as I could. I was gonna try and wait until the work session, but. I can see that's not gonna happen.
William, where'd you go for spring break?
Went down the bluff. Been on the bluff. Our bluff's so fantastic. The bluff, yeah, it's really good. The weather-
Where's the bluff?
Bluff is about as far away from here as you can get and still be in the state of Utah. It's like 4 corners.
Oh.
Still there. Still a small teeny town. They have an old fort that the church owns, is restored. And they have visitor center and things you can go. It's a non-profit lighting, it's just historical fort, you can go visit. But we went down there and then we went off into the explored some canyons and bears ears.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Did a lot of hiking around, had good weather while we were there. Yeah. We walked out to the Big Peninsula, shoots way out into the middle of this canyon in Bears Ears. And it's big rock formation. It's a little narrow land bridge that gets you way out into the middle of this canyon. You get out on this big rock formation at the very end. You're just up at the tallest point looking down over this giant canyon, and there's Indian ruins built into the rock edges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the rock formation there. It's really cool. So it's pretty fun.
Very cool.
Did you do, Casey? Did you go wheeling anywhere?
I, went to work and did a program with you.
Oh, man.
A relief.
Did you go find any sheds or anything?
No, I haven't done any of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to find it anyway, but I haven't done
I
it.
had a ski shoot at my house,
Did you?
annual. We have a big dinner,
Yeah.
You're coming to bluff.
everybody brings their favorite, and we go out, I buy like
Oh.
$500 or $600 worth of prizes.
Okay.
We just bam, 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 all that.
You know where Open Week is?
We just get it in by then. Get on that list.
Yeah, I mailed it.
Let me show you.
Didn't I get there?
Oh, yeah.
It's coming.
Right up with that.
Those damn postal
Okay,
workers.
Yeah,
You know, then you walk across on the land bridge, right up there and there's me.
Hi, Sarah.
And then you can.
Hello.
How are you?
you're right.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Really fun.
He's a.
Well, good to see you.
We went into that. We went into.
Darling.
That's funny, we
Oh.
ended up
Oh,
very
sure.
offended to go.
Right, hold out.
Good over here, Charlie.
I'll grab some out of everything because we were right there.
I don't know, we don't have a work session today. Yes, we do.
Oh,
We
yes.
do. See all of the-
It's just to talk about code stuff that's gonna be on for.
That weekend. So we have one this week.
So the work session was supposed to be next week, but I couldn't get
There was
the
places that.
ordinance stuff done in time,
Okay.
and so we'll do the hearing next week and then work session.
Right, but there is something on, there is a public hearing for a code revision for this week too, right?
There's.
Okay, that's why I was like.
You have kids.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
This is mammoth.
All sides.
Need mustard?
Such a different,
Yeah.
it was really cool, that's.
That is.
Yeah, just in case.
Hope you're not thinking around a lot.
Good cat.
Okay. Fair.
He'll usually do like hours of time.
Okay, that's good. You can get the places.
Yeah, no, we would.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time to start. We start.
Can we start?
Well, she
I
said she was.
think we got to record. no?
30, it said it was recording.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been recorded.
all right,
Whenever you're ready.
let's start. Let's get into it.
Anybody else have packets, need a packet?
I think everybody's good.
Yeah. Tammy, hi. Hi, sorry, morning, guys.
Oh, you should be. We're really concerned about it.
Didn't figure you were. This probably would have just continued on.
All right, we'll get started. Did anybody have any problems with the minutes?
No, that's good for me.
Look, thank We'll go with that. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Okay, first item, Tammy.
Hey, guys, this one's located in Ogden Valley. It's actually located up at the top of Powder Mountain Road and Summit Pass Road, right at that intersection. This project is located in the CVR-1 zone, and condominium rental units are permitted conditional use. So this is an application for a conditional use permit for 7 condominium rental units. There are a few things to consider as we go through this. You should have in your packet their narrative. You've also got a site plan, you've got elevations. The first thing we look at is, first of all, they're asking for 7 units. Now, there's a previous CUP from 2005 that has expired. That's why they're reapplying. So the previous CUP allowed for 7 units. The density calculations, I'm not aware, have changed since then, but the density calculations are outlined in here, and so they are well within what they're requesting. I think I go through this. They are required to have at least 7,500 square feet of overall net developable area per building. They're proposing 1 building. And then to calculate the remainder of their density, they have to have 2,000 additional square feet of net developable area per unit above and beyond the first 2. Okay, so they're proposing 7, so they need 10,000 additional square feet of net developable area. They are on a parcel that's got over 22,000 square feet. So they've got plenty of net developable area. We haven't seen any conflict in the ordinance for this. What we don't have in here is we don't necessarily have, well, I guess we do have first of all, the landscaping they're proposing is just native. They're going to keep native landscapings wherever they can. We'd rather they not have anything that requires irrigation. So this is located right off of the parking lot at the top of Powder Mountain Road, and that's where their access will be. And so I think I had erroneously stated that they're actually accessing from the private road. They're actually coming in from the parking lot, which there's an access easement through that parking lot to the parcel. Okay. They've got elevations in there that meet architectural standards for commercial. These are all looking to be short-term rental units, which are a permitted use in this zone. Okay. However, because they are condominiums, they still have a couple more steps to go through. So the CUP is the first process. Then they have to go through a subdivision process to get those 7 condominiums platted. And then after that, they'll go through their building permit process. Okay.
Neighbor access, isn't there already some structure there?
There is, a really attractive foundation up there right now.
Are they gonna build on top of that?
They-
That could be a question.
They're using the existing foundation, they've had the engineering checked. According to them, it was over engineered. Engineering will verify the numbers anyway when they go to submit building permit. As will building inspection. But that is what they're planning to do, is use the same footprint.
Different people.
Different people, yep. Any other questions? for
Have they
me?
gotten their engineering back on that yet, Tammy?
They have, I don't know if Michael Barnett has sent it over to me. I don't think he's emailed it over to me, but he will be here tonight. As will their engineer and their architect, to answer any questions you guys might have about it.
Just that the foundation's still viable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my question for them, for that portion, anyway.
I had a question. In your recommendation, it has the parking plan. What are the concerns with parking there? Is it that there's not enough, that they'll use the parking lot that's right there by, or what?
So. For this particular use, the parking requirements are a little bit different than those for a single family dwelling. So when we look at these, we look at them as I think in the ordinance, it's a bachelor/bachelorette with a family. That's how we kind of look at these. That seem to be the most applicable use to this. And those require 1.75 parking spaces per unit, which equates to about 12. They are, however, proposing 2 per unit. So they've got 14 underneath. They'll all be within the parking structure. They shouldn't have to use the parking lot at all. That's a good question.
Is that actually?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so, anything else?
Yeah, the
Alright.
staff report was sent out before he had. Done that for me, so.
The last bullet point, quick check on the staff recommendation.
On that one.
Yeah, we had sent out the staff report before he confirmed. That there were 14 parking spaces.
Oh, okay. So that's a done deal.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions pertaining on that one? Okay, JDC Phase 7.
Okay. This is the Creekside Phase 7. When you guys saw the preliminary Creeksides, they had them phased out. They had it divided up into 9 phases. Sorry, 8 phases, actually. So you granted a preliminary for phases 1 through 8. They had kind of redrawn the boundaries since then, which they can do. They haven't adjusted the density, just redrawn the boundaries for each phase. So now they're 1 through 6. This is separate from that. Wasn't included in the original preliminary. It's located right at the northern boundary of the JDC development, kind of a little bit in that northeast corner, actually. They're proposing 43 single family dwelling lots. This is in the R110 zone. So their lot sizes range from about 5,500 to 8,800. They can go as low as 4,000 square feet in this zone. They can also go as narrow as 40 feet, but their minimum lot width is about 44 and it goes up to 94 as far as their lot width goes.
But on this one, they're proposing larger lots though, right?
They range from 5,500 square feet up to about 8,800 square feet. They are not proposing any attainable lots in this phase.
And they have, those 40, I'm trying to remember, our code, you have to have 50 feet of frontage to have the garage, or there's a percentage of the garage that the other frontage, so you guys have checked all that out, because we don't have,
Well, so
we don't have elevations, right?
No, we don't have elevations at this stage.
So that'll be determined later.
Yeah. There, see Bonavista for water, Central Weaver sewer, Pine View. I'm so used to saying Taylor West River. Pine View for their secondary. And I think that's it. 60-foot wide public rights of ways through here with 1 20-foot wide alley at the very east end with a snow storage easement. And then there's a meandering 10-foot wide asphalt trail on the east side that goes through public open space up to the northern boundary of the development.
The alley's only 20 feet wide,
Yes.
but we required 4 something, or the tire required 24.
It is a short, let me pull this up. It could be that maybe they consider this part of their.
50 or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say it's only 2 lots wide.
Oh, okay, that's.
So it doesn't go too far.
But you're right. We-
Yes.
You have, the shared private lane or the shared driveway, requires 24 feet right of way, 20 foot travel surface.
I'd just be concerned about getting out of their driveway to 20 foot, that seems like.
Hard to do, yeah,
Yeah,
25 point turn.
yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. Because I used to think the same thing until yesterday. Because I went and did some research in Midvale. I took pictures for you all because of that. On these houses that are 3 stories high, if you count the garage. It looks super, super tiny. But the cars were parked right next, they have 2 cars parked next to each other. Literally, it's as wide as the garage and then a man door is what's as wide as the whole
Where did
entire
you
house.
do that?
Midvale, right by Gardner Village, if you wanna go and look at it yourself, I'm like, my family's like, what are you doing? I gotta take pictures of this. I never thought it'd be possible, but it actually does make sense, and it was a nice little neighborhood.
And you liked it? It looked good?
I thought, I was like, wow, this, I mean. Again, I have to be careful saying this because people attack me, but I wouldn't wanna live in it myself, but I think it is a very nice neighborhood, and in my current situation, I wouldn't wanna live there. But I could easily live there if I didn't have all the crap that I have, we'll put it that way.
It has more of a row house.
And it's better than the townhome.
It actually is, cause that's what I was thinking, because you're not sharing walls, and there's not, I'll send this to you,
Yeah, yeah.
or send it to Charlie, and he can display it at some point, not to get us off track, but because we brought it up. And I even took pictures of the address so Charlie could look it up and see, but, and honestly,
Was it bad?
there were some things that I thought that like, when we're talking about our work session for the other one down there that we've been having issues with. They did some things to these that I felt like made it feel like more of a home and more of a community, like they put multiple, I wouldn't call it a deck off the back, it's more of a, like a balcony off of some of the rooms. So that they can be there with their neighbors, there's not a lot of space, but they had some shared, like, I would say as big as this room. Or like our tables for like garden areas and things like that. It seemed like a really nice quaint community in my opinion, so.
Cool, yeah, so.
But it's something that I was always a naysayer of until seeing it and feeling it, I guess. Does that make sense? Like to be in there and to feel it and the cars they had. What we've heard said before, we're like, no, everybody's gotta have a big truck like KC and all these big cars. They had Toyotas, they had little cars, like there was no big thing in there, and they still had some street parking for like guests or whatever, but not a lot of it. But I was amazed on how many vehicles, not knowing what's in their garage, they had 2 cars parked next to each other in front of the garage, and then they probably could fit at least one more in there and be able to open the doors, so. Sorry, that was way off track.
Good, thank you.
Sarah, that length of that private 20-foot wide street or alley is about 140 feet or less, between 135 and 40 feet total.
Okay, so it's just under probably, but the.
Because they're a little longer. Yeah, a lot of the percent. Although.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Which one is that, Tammy?
Right?
Which one is that? Is that this one where we're advancing? What are we talking?
Do you see the extension of the right of way to the?
I have a.
So, and you see that parcel 1 on the east side?
For the northeast one.
Yeah,
Okay.
if that little extension at the end that continues, that's the alley.
Oh, okay.
I do not expect you to be able to read that very well here. I do have a presentation.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Okay. So, not a big thing. Or at least
I
not-
don't think so. Fire is still reviewing this. They're proposing their cross sections show 16 feet of asphalt with 2 feet on either side of that mountable curb.
So
And
it's,
it's only a 2.5 foot mountable curb, is that our spec, or is our spec?
2 feet. They're proposing 2 feet of mountable curb.
I thought I saw that was 2.5 feet.
If it's type G, it would be 2 feet, if it's type B, it would be.
Oh, sorry,
Hold on.
the gutter and the mount, well, but that's kind of, yeah, when it's all together, I thought the minimum would be 2.5 feet.
For type B. Yeah.
This is type F.
Oh, type F.
This is type F, reversible mountable curb and gutter right here.
And then what's the, I thought I looked at those and I was like.
So this is the alley section.
Oh, for
They're
the,
showing-
just for the alley.
Yeah, they're showing 24.
They're showing 16 feet of asphalt and then 2 on each side.
Yeah.
Oh, an mountable curb, oh, wow.
Yeah, am I reading that wrong?
No.
Okay.
So you scroll the one before that, because their regular section has the 2.5.
I can roll it out.
So,
Type F.
No, the rest, I'm not sure what the other one is.
Subdivision, every still built
Yeah.
in there.
I think so.
It's got to be two and a half feet. So I think that one is kind of B curve, it's still
That'd
not
be a
here.
good one to see.
It just gets to be pretty down. Yeah, you change that. Yeah, that is pretty intense. That one I was like, oh, that's a pretty intense.
Well, on one side, it looks like it's high back, on the other side, it looks like it's.
Right, it looks a little bit different.
I don't know, it's
You
not-
do a type F and type. They don't say the type on
They
it.
don't say, but you're right, it does
I'll
look
bet
like.
you that's a mistake.
But they're looking to do this under development agreement. So this, they're not going off the city standards directly.
Right, so one of the conditions of approval in the staff report is that we will verify that all of these cross sections meet the development agreement standards.
Oh, that's already in place, as they're going to be extending, okay. All right.
Anything else? Okay. Legislative item number 1. Tammy, that one's you too, regarding Title 106 development infrastructure.
So we've got a text amendment before you guys tonight for a public hearing. The purpose of this, there's a couple of 2 or 3 reasons why we're doing this. And if you look in there is an ordinance summary that Portland put together. The main points are: 1, we are correcting the ordinance sections based on all of Charlie's work he's been working on for how long? In our ordinance and specifically the subdivision ordinance. The other one is we have, I think, I don't know if it's been a recent state code change regarding allowing for multiple avenues of guaranteeing improvements. Remove that $1 million minimum threshold from being able to do a letter of credit.
Our attorney said, well, technically, we are providing 2 options, but they just have to make sure they're doing $1 million or more in improvements. So if it's a smaller subdivision, they just have to make it really expensive so they can do letter of credit. That's where Portland and William said, maybe we could just do letters of credit like everybody else and not be challenged.
We have had a couple of developers push back and we've allowed them to do a letter of credit for less than that, so we may as well make sure everyone's compliant, change the ordinance to allow for that since we have to. The other thing to note in here that we are requiring, is that prior to the way development goes is they get through the subdivision process through the approvals. Typically between final approval and reporting, they'll bond for the improvements. So they're working with engineering, they're getting those cost estimates approved, and then they submit some kind of a guarantee to county engineering so that they can record it and start selling lots. That does not mean that they have installed the infrastructure. The county doesn't accept the infrastructure until everything has been installed. They have inspected it multiple times to make sure that it meets minimum standards with us and whatever other standards they're applying. And so one of the things we're asking for is we want a final approval letter from the districts, like the water districts, saying that they are good with everything before the county accepts the infrastructure.
So the only question I have there, or one question I have there, on the culinary, probably not a big deal. On the secondary though, might be a big deal. Now, unless I'm misunderstanding, meaning that if the potential buyer / developer has to go buy water shares for secondary, and they're not actually buying or putting this property under contract until there's a certain amount of approvals that are done, they're not gonna be able to guarantee secondary water unless they go and buy those water shares.
Right.
So if they go and buy those, so in other words, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to go buy those water sharing before they know that they can get their deal pushed through, or at least most of the way through.
And if they do, the only one that's gonna suffer is the current landowner, because they're gonna lowball big time, because they'll say nothing's guaranteed, right?
And so we're not asking the secondary water company to tell us that they're ready to hook up, just that the infrastructure that's been installed has been installed correctly.
So like in the.
Okay, so it's still just basically the infrastructure's there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
At the point they go hook up to the stuff,
Okay.
that's when they should be getting their dues.
I thought that this was a guarantee for actual wet, and that's where I was getting a little bit concerned. I was like, no,
So
we might be pushing that a little too far.
Far enough down the road that we would, this is when they've installed the streets, they're
They've submitted Wilster letters from
Yeah.
secondary.
This
and
isn't just
culinary,
get
so,
zoning.
This is in the subdivision section of our.
Oh, this is.
It's all the way to
subdivision.
subdivision.
This is
Okay, I'm
subdivision.
sorry.
No,
Then we're
you're
good. We're good. Okay. I thought we were at zoning.
Mm.
Thanks, Sarah.
We're good.
I can tell.
We're a little slow.
Like,
We've been together too long.
I know. I know what you're concerned about.
Do you guys have any questions on that?
No, that-
This will go before the county commission probably in a couple of weeks. We'll forward any feedback or concerns that you guys have to them. before this one.
Anything else? Alright, then the last item is Woodruff on 3300 West and 2550 South. So that one I think we're all familiar with, and really, you can go through Charlie, as much as you want to, but I really only have one question. And that is, did they satisfy all the questions that we had when we tabled this, which was the egress and, some water issues and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think they did. So you could see from their concept plan, they kind of reconfigured just a little bit to provide the street layout that we were hoping for, the pathway layout that we were hoping for. They've got it marked into phase 1, 2, and 3, but phase 3 being over 30 lots. They know that they're not gonna be able to do phase 3 until they find an actual road that egresses. But they can do up to 30 as long as they've got emergency egress, which they're working that out with the neighbor. I don't know if that's been finalized, but they're not gonna get their subdivision plat recorded until it has. to be finalized. Yeah,
The whole thing or just the portion that's separate.
Say again.
Will you let them go up to 30 and record it?
Yep, up to 30 as long as they've got that egress. And then,
They gotta have the egress either way.
yeah, and then the last 8 can come in once a street actually stubs to somewhere else. So, or stubs, connects.
And
next to another
they
road.
changed the, I don't know, why can't the pathway just be along here? Like, I don't know why it has to go between, it's because they're trying to double up and be like, oh, now we're breaking up the block lane
Yes.
by doing that.
Yeah, they could have put that road up higher. However, I think they put the road in a good spot, because if you look further to the west, it runs between buildings, so they're not taking buildings down. If they had put it up where the pathway is, there's houses there. Doesn't look as good.
So you don't like the jog in the east-west pathway? Is that what you're talking about, Sarah?
Oh, no, I was just. It's fine, I was just surprised they put it through the building, but I remember it's because they have a big block, they need to break up the block lane, so that's why.
Okay.
And you guys know the stub at the bottom, because we wanted a stub to, I don't know what direction. East. The stub to the east. We will be able to stub into something eventually there.
But so, yeah.
Eventually.
Banana
Okay.
belts, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But it's
big.
Yeah.
further north that they can't really stub in, was that what it was? I don't remember, I don't know this.
This is where they wanted the emergency.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah, I think that property back there,
but.
when they do develop, we'll put a road in, cause I didn't see any other access to it.
No, there's not. There's not. And the canal is just east of this and goes on a,
Kind of a
on a
natural,
bend.
just went.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, so this corner right here, we're not really worried about accessing right here, but this one could be productive.
It could be, but there's not a lot there. It's very narrow. That's a very narrow strip between the end of that stub road and the canal.
Now, yeah,
Oh, I see.
it's very likely it's gonna be a street.
Oh, that's where the canal goes is right there, so they're not listed right
And-
here.
Unless they
Yeah.
build over the canal into the next, which is possible, I guess.
We've seen it.
So, okay. Anything else, Charlie, on that one that you wanted to share?
Only other thing is, working with the applicant, and West Haven City, we're looking at West Haven City's general plan. They're showing a trail along the slough, we're showing a trail along the canal. We asked the applicant if he'd be willing to put a 10-foot trail easement right next to his 20-foot, slough or canal easement, that runs north-south on the eastern side, and he agreed. So if we can't get a trail on the canal, then at least we can get it along the, the slough there. Yeah, but we're not asking him to build that up.
Was that all the issues we had last time?
As far as I recall, I didn't take detailed notes and, you know,
But it still shows 39 lots, but you won't put that in. He doesn't.
he won't get the final 9 lots. It'll show 38 lots.
Straight.
I think it's showing 38 lots. He won't get the final.
Here.
Okay, so phase 3 is final 8, so he could,
Moving right along.
he can't find the third.
Regardless, right?
You may take a day movie to go around. And then I'll try for eat.
Last one is 30, yeah.
Any other questions on that?
Just have the standard development agreement that goes with it. So if you see anything that catches your eye there, say something.
We're coming back here after for the work session, right?
Yes.
Okay. You'll eat more after. And which one of you is Rick tonight? Okay.
I've been there. Yeah, that's very good.
So. You know, they keep putting the truck, the county, trying to put the town.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay.
Just look at it and then call me and I'll say you've got a half hour and you just say when,
Okay.
next week.
Okay. What's their last name? Is that Rousey?
Actually, their agent is on that full.
Okay.
And he'll probably be the only one there.
So we're talking about.
Yeah, they can't really get a feel for it, they can put that in.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out and welcome to our, public meeting for the Planning Commission for April 7th. Please, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let the record show that all planning commissioners are here. Commissioner Andriotti is excused tonight. And first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 3rd meeting. Commissioners, any comments or concerns on those minutes? Okay, we'll let the record reflect that the minutes have been approved. First item on our agenda is administrative item number 2.1, CUP 2026-05, request for approval of a conditional use permit for 7 condominium rental apartments located in the CVR-1 zone at approximately 8674 East, 6675 North in Eden, Charlotte.
Commissioners, this is an administrative item. The applicant has an entitlement to approval as long as they meet the requirements of the code. As a conditional use permit, you guys had the opportunity to apply conditions to mitigate reasonably anticipated detrimental effects. I think that from a staffing perspective, we've already looked at those things and are pretty comfortable with it. But if you guys see things that you want to flag, that would be appropriate. The conditional use ordinance has specific standards, so we can't just make up the standards. We've got to follow whatever the standards are, but things like life safety and traffic circulation, something like that is where you can go with that. So, yeah, and Tammy's going to be presenting.
Great, thank you, Charlie.
Are we having the applicant present first, Charlie?
Yes.
I'm still trying to get in the Zoom, sorry.
The applicant will present their project and their vision, and then we'll follow up from staff.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. So as you're aware, an existing podium that we're looking at acquiring in the conditional use permit is for, well, the constraint that we have is that this is a 20-year-old podium that's pre-existing that we're not trying to really add anything outside of the original or beyond the original permanent plans that date back to, I think, 2007. So it's more of, from my viewpoint, more of an update than asking for something brand new, as a conditional use permit was already approved back then under different standards, but we're just trying to get an update so that we can utilize that existing podium.
Commissioners, any questions this time? Okay, thank you.
Okay, bear with me here, just trying to pull up some layers and then I'll orient everybody to this. Okay, everybody see this okay? I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. This project is located at the top of Powder Mountain Road, just beyond where it meets up with Summit Pass. So actually, I'm gonna turn off the zoning layer here. This is located in the CVR-1 zone. This is the parcel here. Okay. So as you can see, this is the location of the abandoned foundation from several years ago. Work just stopped, project was abandoned, and as a result of the abandoned use, the current applicant has to apply for a new conditional use permit. Our ordinance has some timelines where when the use is abandoned, applications have to begin again. So this is an application or a request for a conditional use permit for condominium rental apartments. Applicant is proposing 7 of these. I'm going to pull up a presentation here. Okay. This is located in the CVR-1 zone, and condominium rental apartments are permitted as a conditional use in this zone. The density calculations are before you, they're in the staff report. But a couple of things to note. In order to determine how many units you can get here, we first look at the net developable area. The CVR-1 zone calls for a minimum of 7,500 square feet of overall net developable area per building. And that includes 2 units in the building. For anything above those 2 units, they need an additional 2,000 square feet of net developable area. Applicant is asking for 5 additional units beyond the 2 that come with that 7,500 square feet. So they need 17,500 square feet. I had to double check, make sure I added that right, of net developable area. They're on a parcel that consists of a little over 22,500 square feet, okay? That's where number 7 comes from. This is their site plan, this is what they're proposing. Applicant is proposing to use the existing foundation, and I know that there are questions and concerns from the planning commission as to the engineering of this, and I'll let the applicant address those questions, but this is what they're looking to construct. So as you can see here, these are different elevations. You've got one structure, one foundation, and then you've got these condominium units that come up from different sides of that. So you've got kind of an open area in the middle. We still look at this as one structure, okay? When we go through and we look at conditional use standards, we're looking at architecture, we're looking at landscaping and parking. Applicant is proposing 2 parking spaces. I'm gonna go back over here. 2 parking spaces per unit for a total of 14 parking spaces, all of which will be accessed from the Powder Mountain parking lot and be located within the garage that is in that foundation, okay? Landscaping that's being proposed really is fairly minimal, which we would prefer to see up there, frankly. We'd rather not load any slopes with irrigation. I don't know that I have anything else. Do you have any questions? You've got the recommendations before you. We've got a couple of them. What was in the staff report was sent out prior to the applicant confirming the number of parking spaces that they have. And so you may need to just scratch condition number 2, which requests a detailed parking plan. Again, as I mentioned in the pre-meeting, there are a couple more steps to go through before this goes vertical, further, I should say. The applicant after this will have to submit a subdivision plat to plat those 7 condominium units. I will let you know too that short-term rentals, which is what these will be used for, short-term rentals are a permitted use in the CVR-1 zone. Staff feels that this is a very appropriate location for short-term rentals adjacent to a resort development. So we don't have any concerns with that. Once they go through subdivision, then they can submit their building permit application. If they feel they need any adjustment in setbacks, they would have to go through a variance process that is separate, and they have to have that approved before we would issue any approvals for the building, assuming the building would need any adjustments to those setbacks.
Commissioners, any questions? I don't. I think they've been answered, and honestly, the engineering isn't a concern for me, as I feel like that'll be handled with, subdivision or something.
Okay. Thanks, Tammy. Commissioners, did you want any remarks from the applicant? Any questions for them? Okay. All right, seeing none. Any discussion?
Ready to make a motion, if you want.
Please make a motion.
I'd like to make a positive motion for recommendation to the commission for approval of this conditional use application, as the applicant has shown compliance to the above standards and requirements. This recommendation for approval is subject to the applicant meeting the conditions of approval in this staff report that Tammy gave to us, and any other conditions that we may require, which I don't think there is any additional ones. This recommendation is subject to all agencies and is based on the following conditions. Just the one condition of a business license may be required for short-term rental use, and then with the following findings: the proposed use is allowed in the CVR-1 zone and meets the appropriate site development standards. The criteria for issuance of a conditional use permit have been met because mitigation of potential detrimental effects can be accomplished.
Motion. Any discussion on the motion? I'll ask for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda. Item 2.2, LBZ 0317, 2026, request for preliminary subdivision approval at Creekside at JDC Ranch Phase 7, consisting of 43 detached single-family lots in the R7 zone located at approximately 4,000 North Galloway Lane. Looks like, Tammy, it's up to you, but Charlie, any comments?
No, this is likewise an administrative item. Applicant has not approved with more state requirements.
Thank you.
And the applicant will be presenting first.
Commissioners and staff, thank you for allowing us to be on the agenda tonight. We've submitted a preliminary subdivision application for 43 detached single-family lots in the Creekside area of the JDC Ranch subdivision, just north of 2700 North. Thank
Any
you.
questions? Okay,
Ready for staff?
Tammy, we're ready.
We zoom out a little bit. This is the parcel here that, where the subdivision will be located. You can see it's up in the northeast corner of the overall JDC Ranch development here. 2700 North is on the south. We'll be going to the presentation, and then I can zoom in on various parts of the proposed preliminary plat, if there's anything you'd like to see on there, okay? This is, to reiterate, this was not part of the previous preliminary approval for some of these Creekside phases. This is a separate phase. This is phase 7. It's located in the R110 zone and is under the JDC Ranch Development Agreement and subsequent amendments. The applicant is proposing 43 single-family lots and public right-of-ways through here. 60 feet is the width that they're proposing, and we feel that that meets the roadway standards in their recorded development agreement, but we will verify that prior to final approval. They are proposing one alley, 20-foot wide alleyway that crosses 3 lots over to the east, and I'll show you that in just a moment here. The applicant also has some public open space, so I'm gonna go back to this map here real quick and just show you where that is. Per their development agreement, they have some open spaces outlined that would be public open spaces. And the applicant, oh, sorry, I don't know if I was sharing my slideshow here. I'll go back to that. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. This parcel here on the east boundary consists of a 40-foot wide drainage easement. It is piped, and the applicant is, per their development agreement, is proposing a meandering pathway that goes all the way down to 2700 North, and that's shown in their engineered plans with this preliminary request. It's 10-foot wide asphalt all the way to the northern boundary from 2700 North. However, the only part you'll see at this point is just that portion up here that falls within Creekside Phase 7, okay? All right, now let me try and share the presentation, sorry guys. There we go, okay. Just kind of some bullet points here. They are working with Bonavista Vista Water, Central Weaver Sewer, and Pineview for their culinary, secondary, and sewer services. They do have some private storm drain easements that are shown on their plat along the northern boundary here. And then they've got a snow storage easement at the end of that 20-foot wide alleyway. And one of the questions from the commissioners was the length of that and concerns with fire district, and Weaver Fire is working very closely with the applicant to make sure that any concerns that they have are addressed. The length of this is between 135 and 140 feet. So this could possibly act as a hammerhead. Fire will ultimately have that final say, but staff doesn't have any concerns at this point with that. This is the open space parcel, and this is where that pathway will meander. I'm gonna go back here just to kind of give you an idea as to the size of the lots. So first of all, there are no attainable lots proposed in this phase. You've got sizes that range from 5,500 up to 8,800 square feet as far as their lots go. In the R110 zone, these lots can go as small as 4,000 square feet. So these all exceed the minimum. They can also go as narrow as 40 feet in width, and they're proposing widths that range from 46 to 94 feet, okay? One thing that we do require when a subdivision comes in that falls under a development agreement is we ask for a lot count. We want to know, according to the developer, how many lots have you platted so far, especially when their development agreement cites a specific amount of density. This development is entitled to 1,000 total units. It includes 725 market rate units and 225, hopefully I haven't transposed any of those numbers, of attainable lots. They are up to 416 right now, and after a preliminary approval with this one, they'll be up to 459 lots total in this development. This is what their proposed preliminary plat looks like. Engineering is still reviewing this plat. They don't review at a preliminary stage too heavily, to be honest, nor does the county surveyor. It's mostly planning and fire that do. So we're waiting for final comments back from fire on this. We don't have any concerns so far. So we recommend preliminary approval based on the conditions and findings outlined in the staff report. Do you have any questions for myself or the applicant?
Just a couple, and this would be more just, so the 60-foot width, but to check in the development agreement about the 20-foot alley, where there's homes backing each other, I'm kind of concerned about that.
About the width of that and being able to back a car out?
To back the car out.
Okay.
Just because I know our normal code is 24 feet, but I don't know exactly what this development agreement establishes.
I can look in the development agreement, and the applicant may have a response for that as well. I'm sure she does, actually. So.
And then where we do have lot frontages that are smaller than 50 feet, I don't know if the development agreement specified how much of the frontage could be garage.
So our current R110 zoning does, it gives them a setback, it gives them a few setback options based on the percentage of their front lot line that's taken up by a garage door. I believe they're grandfathered in under the previous ordinance.
Okay.
Because that can be, we've been told by several developers, that can be pretty restrictive to the product they're trying to put out there. And so I believe we worked with Milson Homes and addressed that by following what was previously in place when the development agreement was recorded.
Okay. So there's nothing we can do about now.
Any other questions? I'm gonna pull up, see if I can pull up a better picture of the plat here. Here we go. This is just kind of zooming in on that eastern portion right there. This is that alleyway with some snow storage easement at the end here. You've got these 10-foot private storm drain easements on the north. And then to the south, you have other faces of Creekside that are just outside, just adjacent to the subdivision. Let me see back here. This is what this will look like along that northeastern boundary. Any other questions?
So on the south end of this, it comes up behind, what is that? That's not a potential, that's something that already exists there, right?
Yes.
Okay. We're good. I don't have any questions. Commissioners, any questions? Okay. All right. Does anyone want to ask any questions or get any comments from the applicant again? Okay. Any discussion? I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Chair. I move that on item LVC 03-172026, consideration and action on a request for preliminary subdivision approval of Creekside at JDC Ranch Subdivision Phase 7, that we recommend positive recommendation for this phase. This is based on the following conditions: that the improvement plans approved by Weaver County Engineering were submitted under the subdivision application prior to applying for the final approval. The street cross sections shall be verified against the approved recorded development agreement and subsequent amendment prior to accepting the application for final approval. Open spaces will need to be properly labeled with appropriate language dedication on the final plat. And this recommendation is based on the findings that the proposed subdivision conforms to the Western Weaver General Plan, and that the proposed subdivision complies with applicable county ordinances and the development agreement.
Thank you. Commissioners, any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of this item?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Unanimously. Thank you very much.
That was a little too easy on her. When Brian was proposing some things, we.
She's nice with you. Okay, next item on our agenda, is a legislative item, 3.1 ZTA 2026-01. Public hearing, to consider proposals, to consider the proposed text amendment to the Weber County Land Use Weber County Land Use Ordinance, changing certain portions of Title 106 regarding development infrastructure provisions, specifically regarding the acceptance of water infrastructure and forms of infrastructure assurance. Charlie? Oh, morning.
I came down a little too early.
Yeah.
Introducing Tammy again to highlight the amendments. This is something that was brought up by our attorneys, and just wanted to make sure it was, so.
Thank you.
Okay, these proposed amendments are located in the subdivision section of our ordinance. This is a county initiated application, just to make sure that we are in compliance with state code. So there's a few things that the changes in this ordinance do. Some of them are just adjusting the code sections, as you can see in your draft before you. And then there's a couple of things that this proposed text amendment does. Number one, it requires a final approval letter from the appropriate districts prior to the county's acceptance of the installed infrastructure. This would typically be water and sewer infrastructure. The other thing it does is previously in our ordinance, in order to utilize the letter of credit option to guarantee improvements, you had to come up with a cost estimate that was at least $1 million. This really made it, for the most part, unless you were doing subdivisions with those amounts are greater, you only had one option, which was a cash bond, and state code requires that we have more than one. So we are removing that minimum $1 million threshold in order to use the letter of credit. And that's what this text amendment does. Those are the three things that it addresses. Do you have any questions?
Okay, and on this item, we have a public hearing, so we have to open and take comments and close the public hearing. So I'll take motion to open a public hearing.
Chair, I'll motion to open a public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are now in public hearing. Anyone from the public that has any comments, come to the podium, give us your name and address, and 3 minutes of your best.
Mom's gone.
All right, we give it the 10 count, so I think we're good. I'll ask for seeing that there was no public comment on this item. I'll ask for a motion to close or vacate public hearing. I need a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now out of public hearing. Commissioners, any further information necessary? Any questions from Tammy? Any discussion on the item? Okay, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make that motion. My motion that we forward a positive recommendation for item 3.1 ZTA 2026-01 to consider a proposed text amendment to the Weber County Land Use Ordinance, changing certain portions of Title 106 regarding development infrastructure provisions, specifically regarding the acceptance of water infrastructure and forms of infrastructure assurance. These adjustments are shown in our package.
Thank you. Motion, do I have any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll ask for a second. Second. Have a motion and a second. Liam, does this have to be a roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Sorry. Lindsay, Commissioner Lindsay, I apologize. Commissioner Wicker?
Aye.
Commissioner DeBell?
Aye.
Commissioner Quantz?
Aye.
Commissioner McCormick? Aye. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 3.2, ZMA 2026-02, request for positive recommendation to the county commission to rezone approximately 14 acres of vacant land from the A1 zone to the R15 zone. The property is located approximately 3300 west, 2550 south, and Charlie's going to present, so we don't need any extra comments.
As I say, very excited. get up here a little too early. So you've seen this a couple of times in work session, and then you had public hearing, and then this time you met. Couple of comments that came out of that public hearing specifically that led to the tabling is just going through the minutes actually. Specifically to look at a plan for egress or create a concept development plan that reduces lots. Yeah, that was the primary concern, as well as a little bit of lot configuration and pathway and street configuration. You can see on the concept plan that you guys have in front of you, they've reconfigured just a little bit with streets and pathways. It looks good. I think from a staff perspective, we're comfortable with that. They're showing a phasing plan, phase 1, 2, and 3, where phase 3 would be the last 8 lots, which would take it over the 30 lots. And once it gets over 30 lots, they're going to need to provide a permanent egress. So between lots 1 through 15, they could just have a temporary dead end road. From 15 to 30, they need a temporary egress, and then above 30, they need a permanent egress. So they'll build to the end of phase 2, and if they can find a way to get out permanently, then they'll do phase 3 with the final 8 lots.
We feel, they feel confident that they have that secondary egress to get to 30 though.
We can let the applicant speak to that specifically. If for whatever reason it didn't happen, that would need to be secured before the plat gets recorded. So we wouldn't get ourselves in the wrong order.
Commissioners, any questions on that? From Charlie? Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Because we have just one, but it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much a moot point. It's going to be addressed at the next level anyway. So if you want to hear from the applicant, we can ask for it. Nope. Okay. All right, commissioners, any discussion? Okay, I'll ask for motion on that item.
Sure, I'll make a comment. My motion is for a positive recommendation as is. I move before a positive recommendation, County Commission for file number ZMA 2026-02, an application to rezone approximately 14 acres of land located at approximately 3300 west, 2550 south from the A1 zone to the R115 zone as illustrated in Exhibit C. I do so with the following findings. The changes are supported by the Western Weaver General Plan. The proposal serves as an instrument to further implement the vision, goals, and principles of Western Weaver General Plan. The changes will enhance the general health and welfare of Western Weaver residents. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? I'll ask for a second. Second. I have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner McCormick? Aye. Commissioner Clance?
Aye.
Commissioner Neville?
Aye.
Commissioner Wicker?
Aye.
Commissioner Lindsay?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That concludes our business. Next item on the agenda, public comment for items not on the agenda. Looks like our public may be pretty sparse. I'm gonna say that's a no. Remarks from planning commissioners. We're breaking records tonight.
Just a quick remark on our last item. I just want to thank the applicant for following through when we had discussions, comments of things we wanted done, and we got them done so we could come back and go from there. So thanks. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes we have to ask and ask and ask. So thank you for doing it.
Great stuff. Anything else, commissioners? All right, as soon as Charlie gets seated, we'll ask him for some direction from the director's seat.
I keep my seat warm up here, didn't want to get cold. I just want to let you guys know that the appeal authority ordinance that the attorney's office was working on was adopted by the county commission. That was one that didn't come through the planning commission. It was not a land use regulation. It was more of an organizational thing. So the appeal authority has been changed from the Board of Adjustments to a single person
hearing officer. We've got one person on contract right now to hear appeals and variances. We're looking to get one more person on contract, so we've got, an alternate in case we need it. We'll see those updates codified in code here shortly.
Charlie, if you don't mind, I'll add one thing from yesterday's work session, or excuse me, from today's commission meeting. So there was an approval, between Weaver County and Cache County for some projects up on Powder Mountain. And we had a conversation with the commission at our last meeting, and Commissioner Frower had mentioned that we're gonna be working on an overall agreement that is basically the same thing, but the reason that this was passed in a smaller version today was to get those projects moving. So they said, I think Sean told me today that within the next few months, we'll probably have something to look at. I don't know how accurate that is, but.
That sounds right.
And I don't
make sure they did install them on a couple of projects that are moving forward.
And that interlocal agreement probably doesn't even concern the planning commission, does it?
Not likely, but it doesn't mean that we're not gonna wanna include you guys and get your, wisdom.
Okay.
So I'll let,
Can I jump in here real quick, Charlie? So, Powder Mountain is looking to install a fire station up in the parking lot up there, and they're looking to get going as quick as they can. The concerns for, the terminal accesses up there are ongoing, and so they're hoping to get this, going vertical as quick as they can, but we can't move on a single application until that interlocal's in place. So that's the purpose of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a little bit of an update on that. Charlie, anything else?
that's all for me.
Okay, Liam?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I'll ask for the last motion. Gotta have it.
Motion for us to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. We'll go to the room for work session. Anybody can eat 5 or 10 Fridays. I like it. It's just rather good, right? Yeah, we gotta go. Man. Gets us going. Oh.
Where did they go? In here?
Oh.
Oh, I can take care of that, you guys. Sorry, I'm just returning an email here.
Like a little Rubbermaid cover with
Sam?
I saw on your motion.
Oh.
Very excited.
It was, my first one.
I guess so far, so far, which I don't have to do. But now it's a village area.
Hey, look,
We did have a work session.
Should take
Oh, I'm scrap it.
Where it had been kind of
You know what?
for everything east of the river to the.
Now, here's one advice. Here's having more advice.
So we.
Conditional use permits, only in Harrodsville. So tomorrow, I wrote a memos for him. One was for Pet City.
Yeah, there you go.
Was, all he said was an FFL business. Firearms, what is it? Okay, something firearms like.
Oh, thanks.
Federal firearms license, but that's all he listed it as.
Oh, that's nice.
Right. Hammer.
Okay.
I got some other, but I was like, really? What is conditional use permits? And they're only on like quarter acre lots.
It's interesting. I'm a little curious, some of the cities that have done this, that, they're just slowing down, so we're kind of seeing stuff. Little bits and pieces of arguments, what people are thinking when they're off on, right?
Yeah.
And so that's usually when we start to see some of these weird applications come with that, so somebody mentioned that to me the other day, and I was like, it's slowing down, we've stopped. We're still going.
I painted it.
Yeah, we got Jed's project rolling along.
You did good.
Oh, I mashed the hell out of it.
We're getting it done. You're getting it done.
Man,
Yeah, you're done.
Post tag friends in high places, huh?
Actually,
Edwards is probably doing real work.
Slow it down.
You know,
I-
and that,
No,
it was a really.
but yeah, I was just like, I mean, when animal boarding is specifically prohibited.
Right, well, we're not Applicant, we're.
So the thing from time with that, but it has like conditions that are not, so that it's not animal.
That's
That's all you can do.
That's what I've done really works.
But you have to slam them into each other to get. I was trying to slam the one. The large spot where they recorded.
Were you an ace student?
Just closed in on.
Can you imagine?
There was no doubt.
I'm sure I was going to go. So
Grad school, I was a student, but I felt like grad school was way.
It wasn't.
I like a lot of my
Me too.
neighbors.
Skin
Seemed like I did.
these just got.
Well, there wasn't, hers wasn't as intense because everyone.
Probably back. No, the whole
Yeah.
time lecturing, but I was like, man, it's like bleeding on my bandages.
Oh, okay.
Open board.
Show those kids something.
Yeah, but that was almost 2 months ago and it's still not going away.
Oh, okay, okay.
Makes me wild.
Okay, yeah, how do you get color? That's an in. That, okay, thank
What's it now?
Just, waiting on a poll.
I'm excited, man, right?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Thought it was coming last night. I was up till about 12:30, now, ended up not.
You're not going already.
Oh.
I have some things that.
There might be some order.
Especially barrel racing horses. They have some people that they see them as well, don't really ride them, and they buy them because they're what they are, right? They're letting. Owner, letting this girl, like 18-year-old girl, use this horse, and she just wants to be ridden. She got them riding it last night, and, taking my saddle off, but. You took up the back strap, what it's called, the.
Vaccine.
Yeah, vaccination. I guess it didn't realize they caught another, but again, so just really loose. Pull off, and she's small, pulled off, pulled in, catch it on the horse, and falls to the ground. Well, the horse was way down, started going everywhere, and got it into one of the stirrups, and the stirrup, was pretty down, short stirrup, just kept rubbing, right above the hoof, and I guess it basically just amputated its hoof. So they had to put down on $80,000 horse that they would borrow it. Oh, that guy's like.
$80,000 horse do I know? Oh, is it a full horse?
The barrel horse, or maybe full school, no,
Well, I seen one, is it Palomino?
I don't know.
I seen a Palomino and it told me it was worth $80,000 and it was a full horse.
Yeah. That's like, where you guys have too much money.
No worry.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I guess that's good, but I'm sure the guy that owns it, might work for a second.
For when they're eight.
Yeah. Man, that's sad. Poor little girl was devastated, you know.
Or see a little blonde girl?
Right.
That's still around.
Yeah.
It is good.
It's warm right now.
Right, well.
Any feet over there?
Yeah.
Got a bunch of them. You know, here's my dad used to always say, shouldn't happen. Unless it was his stuff. Then he wasn't so positive about it.
Yeah. And I think I heard right time too.
Charlie, did you get that email? You might, you haven't checked it, but I make sure they came through because it's on my phone, it was saying they might not send those images, just so you know how they are.
Yeah, okay. Let me get connected to the Zoom here.
And we're not going good. Wait.
What'd you say?
Wait. No. No.
Right, so
I don't want to.
we're chatting, ready? Yes.
Yeah, you've been through a bunch.
You ready?
Ready when you guys are.
My glasses.
Good. You need some glasses today.
Find where I am. I make all my pages.
Yeah.
So, this is just a follow-up. We were gonna have a public hearing on this last month and I was out of town, so I couldn't make it happen. And we're gonna have it tonight and I just hadn't gotten done. So I'm slacking a little bit. So we've got it ready, I think to go, we've noticed it for a public hearing in next week's meeting. So even though next week would usually be your guys' work session, we'll hold a hopefully quick public hearing and then.
Do we have other
work session.
Do we have other work session items? We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
know
any,
they're not their. Nobody could apply for a work session
what?
other than you.
I do have one.
You have some that's.
Yeah, I do have an item. It's gonna be on that one, so
It's
it's a rezone.
It's. It's nothing. Who came to us like 2 times in a row at the same time?
They may ask to be put on, but
Pay like a triple fee to come. You heard again, because I've done here. the same
that's
thing.
actually something that is in the stack things that you guys looked at, or the,
We gotta go now?
at least not the stack, yeah, it's just mood lighting.
Oh,
Do we have this?
this is when you know Charlie's trying to pull something over on us.
Okay,
I'm just gonna lull you guys to sleep.
Yeah.
So do we need any of that stack of paper, Charlie?
Yeah, I'll pass that out in just a second.
Okay. It's all part of the ambiance, huh?
That's right.
Lining the paper.
That's right. So in your packet, let's do this in your packet. Let's flip over to. Oh, well.
It's
You
not,
got a memo at the very back, but it looks like the rest of the memo got cut off, so. I was gonna ask if everybody did their homework. It looks like maybe that's
So,
something you guys were able to
First
do.
one brought down. Oh, okay.
No, that is part of this. We'll have a conversation. So the electronic packet that came to you guys, that had all the information in it. Basically, what I did is I just did what you guys asked. I went through all of the changes that I thought maybe merited a little bit of explanation and just bullet pointed what those explanation points were. Some of the explanation is actually just in the columns on the right-hand side. But some of it's in the bullet points. I emphasize some of the items that we haven't discussed, just so you can pay closer attention to those things. I didn't provide page numbers because I wasn't sure if they were gonna change between then and the version that you guys end up seeing next week, but I do provide section numbers, so. That is in the version that was emailed to you guys, and it's 8 pages of bullet points. And I asked ChatGPT to make it as short as possible, that's what it gave.
so we're just gonna go through the bullet points tonight.
No, not necessarily. I wanted to go over a couple of items first, and maybe if we have time after, we can go through those bullet points. Okay, first item. No, not just yet. I want it to be a surprise.
You're the one that confuses the Tory Strait side.
The county has, well, back in 2011, 2012-ish, the state adopted a code that said that counties and jurisdictions have to adopt, well, counties and jurisdictions of a certain class have to adopt a drinking water source protection zone. Weaver County fell within one of those classes. Struggle was whoever the legislative council was that was writing that code for the legislature didn't seem to fully understand what due process is when it comes to zoning and applying zoning, new zones to properties. The way that the legislature wrote that section of code, it basically says that the county has to have a drinking water source protection ordinance. It also says the county has to have a land use ordinance with zones that identify these drinking water source protection. Just the word zone, I think I actually was talking to Mark Stratford, former attorney for Ogden City, about this a few years ago, and he said, I don't think when they were going through that, anybody thought the word zone meant the same thing as it does in land use zones. I said, you can't say zone and land use ordinance and not mean zone. So someone just wasn't thinking it all the way through. So the way that the state has set it up, drinking water source protection is based off of groundwater travel time for the most part. Wherever your public drinking water well is, you've got a 100-foot radius protection around it. That's the only zone, that's zone 1. That's the only zone that is just based off of the location of the well. The rest of the zones, 2, 3, and 4, are based off of how quickly it takes for the water to get into the groundwater that well sucks out. So zone 2, if I remember right, is 250-day travel time, I think is what that is. Zone 3 is much longer. Zone 4 is much longer in the years. The water provider is required by similar ordinance to adopt those zones, go out and do the study, and submit the maps to the State Division of Drinking Water. And the State Division of Drinking Water gives it to us and says, these are your zones. So if you had a water company drill a well next to you, you're gonna find out that you have a new zone applied to your property and you didn't receive notice, there was never a hearing, there was nothing. And so I think that the state code is guiding us to violate due process. And I think if we were challenged on it, the courts would probably overturn state code. So that's area number 1. Area number 2, when the state adopted the code saying that we need to have these zones, they only said you need to have zone 1 and 2. But then the State Division of Drinking Water created a model ordinance that had zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then they kind of went on their traveling sales pitch to get people to adopt. There wasn't a specific ordinance that had to be adopted. The state code just says you got to have an ordinance that talks about zone 1 and zone 2 and not putting pollutants in zone 1 and zone 2. So your land uses can't be pollutant in those zones. That's all the state code says. And then the model ordinance came out that was a little bit more robust than that. Weaver County didn't ask any questions, we just adopted it. I think it was just kind of the health department was really kind of pushing this and really just get in line with what the legislature wants and not asking questions. The interesting thing about it is that's only applicable to class 1, 2, and I think 3 counties. And the ordinance that the county adopts is automatically applicable to each city, which is in direct violation with CLEPMA, with the County Land Use Development and Management Act of state code. So for whatever reason, they just weren't talking to each other very well. And whoever the legal counsel was for water didn't fully understand the land use realm of it. That said, we have had issues in the Ogden Valley. I don't know that we're going to see a lot of those issues now that the Valley has incorporated. And most of the issues that we have are regarding the use of septic systems near or in the proximity of these wellheads. Excuse me, but there was a case where the landowner wanted to pull a building permit and he couldn't get septic approval from the health department because he was in Ogden City's source water protection zone 2. Which says you can't have septic. So zone 1, no source contaminants at all, not even sewer lines can go through your zone 1. Zone 2, no septic systems. You can have sewer lines that are sealed, treated, or of a certain material. So it's assured to not leak or leach or whatever. And then zone 3 and 4, you have septic systems, sewer systems, a variety of other things, but there's still some limit to what kind of source contaminants. You couldn't have a concentrated feed operation, you couldn't have a pile of manure, you couldn't have any of those things, you can't have a kennel, any of those things.
Pet city.
Right, or pet city, right? That could create source contamination. Sorry. Getting over a cold, so back of my throat is really dry too. When the landowner in the Ogden Valley who was affected by this, when he applied, the health department said, sorry, the county has adopted a rule that says you can't do this. And he came to us and said, the health department is saying that you're not gonna let us do this. And we said, we're not the health authority, so we aren't the one to approve or reject. And then he just got into the cycle of bureaucracy of, with the, you know, he had to walk back and forth across the parking lot 15 times, you know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. In the end, what ended up happening was he built his septic drain field in the, oh yeah, where it is.
The furthest.
Big in my married.
It was a twister. Thank you very much. So he ended up building his drain field a few hundred feet away from his house on his sister's property, which is just outside of the zone.
450.
Right, so, but the health department still had to yield a little bit, because he still had to have a set tank and the lines inside of Ogden City Zone 2. So there is the ability to be flexible, but the health department wants the county to enforce the rule. It is the reason that, it gets a little bit under my skin, it's the reason why the model ordinance exists like it does and wasn't challenged at the time that it was adopted, because the health department said it's needed, mandatory, whatever. But I think they didn't want that to be a health department mandate. I think they wanted the county to be the bad guy on that. And the state basically said the county needs to be the bad guy. So our ordinance applies to all cities unless the cities have adopted their own. And unless the judge says that that's not legal, because CLEPMA says our ordinances, our land use ordinances don't close these. So. That said, there are things in the drinking water source protection zone now that could be streamlined a lot. And so what you're seeing, what you're going to see in front of you as we pass this out, all right, is a streamlined version where it's just zone 1 and zone 2. So not addressing zone 3 and 4. And most importantly, a caveat at the end of the ordinance that says the county is not responsible for enforcing this ordinance. The county can, but is not responsible to enforce. So if we get into a situation where we don't believe the ordinance was created or the zone that's applied to that, whatever that property is, was created lawfully through due process, we're not the ones who are going to enforce. The state code says that we can have a clause in there that says that. And that doesn't stop anyone else from filing in court. So the water company can file in court, the health department can file in court, the drinking water, division of drinking water can file in court, or an affected neighbor can do that if the county chooses, well, actually not if, even with the county, if the county chooses to also enforce.
So is this essentially to say the health department can enforce what they feel is reasonable instead of an arbitrary map that was made and applied to all sources, when some sources, they all have different percolating, they have different, like.
Yes, and the rule behind the creation of the map is they're supposed to do the geology work to find out what the soils will perk at. So that's the 250-day travel time. However, the caveat to that is the state code says it's either zone 2 is either 250-day travel time or the entire drainage.
Yeah.
And the entire drainage that then goes into 3 and 4 as well. So if you can imagine on our drinking water source protection maps, there are thousands of acres encumbered by zone 2 where people could not pull a septic permit if this is
A lot of wells out.
right.
And there's a lot of homes that are 100 feet away.
Right. So the intention here, streamlined, simplified. The other thing is the way it was written, it was a little bit of had some circular logic in it, where if you read it on its face, you think it says something, and then you read the very next section and it says the opposite.
Sounds like the government.
Yeah. So I tried to eliminate a little bit of that. I probably created some new circular logic, but
Sue the health department, not us.
right. So the other thing about this that kind of rubs me the wrong way, not just the due process issue, for all of the other counties and jurisdictions of the other classes, they said water companies, go buy easements, go negotiate with landowners and get easements, which in my opinion is the right way to do it. have an easement, have a contract with those landowners, you're going and you're buying that right, they're on notice, they know that they're selling that right to you. Which is what we did when I was in Morgan County, and in Morgan County, the health department came up and really pushed, this version of the ordinance for us to adopt, and, I refused, I said, no, this is not something we're gonna get in the business of doing. We'll do the minimum that the state code says that we need to do, and above and beyond that, the water companies need to go get these things. So that's, everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
We all think drinking water is really important. We also think that land rights are important, so when we're balancing that out, hopefully the water companies aren't putting their wells where things are pollutant. And from the county perspective, if somebody does pile up a lot of manure in this drinking water source protection, we're probably gonna want to get some people involved. And the state code also has the prevailing, countervailing public interest doctrine that basically says if there's something that's going to hurt people, the county doesn't have to follow the due process in that moment. They might have to repair if they don't do it. But for example, the county could take its equipment straight to the river across private property to fix some flooding issues under that kind of a doctrine. We try not to whenever we can, but so I would think we would pull that card before we try and enforce this. Well, does that make sense? I see a question.
Well, I'm putting the question into perspective. So the water district has a well. And then there's new subdivisions that have been approved that have sanitary sewer. So not septic tank.
Right.
But there's still some teeth in this, even for that sanitary sewer line, a distance.
Yes.
So, so I'm looking at the well in West Weaver, right by near the school. Now there's a parcel that probably gives the distance that it needs, to the west. Because the other parcel's the school and the parcel that it's directly in is just used as a pasture. But it's like, everything we're saying here, it's like even that pasture shouldn't be used as a pasture because of the potentials of it getting into the well.
So,
It's pasture, just not manure storage.
right, so,
A lot of manure.
and yeah.
No, I get it.
And it depends on the type of animal as well.
Sure,
Grass fed.
animal, small animal, that kind of thing. No, I get that. But the really, and that's not the part that I wanted to make an example of. The part that I want to make an example of is sewer lines that are running through the subdivision that are near it. Again, I don't know what that distance would be, probably at least the 250 feet, I would assume.
I don't
It's
think
100 feet. We
that new change.
did one in
Yeah.
Marysville, and I don't think it was,
I'll
it
bet that's
wasn't,
only 100 feet.
source protection wasn't a problem.
Well, but you got the Costesto's piece between that and that first phase of
Something
Of,
else. for that.
Cherokee
It's just 100 feet
to the
from
west.
source, right?
Yeah, they run the
Yeah.
sewer all the way down.
Yeah, in zone two, it has to be a specific.
on 900 though. Oh, that's on,
Yeah.
that all runs on 900. I'm talking about where.
Somewhere in between the two, right?
Goes back,
It's 150
phase
feet
one
for sewer line
goes
and.
back right at the, on the west
If
side.
it's.
Cherokee
built with a certain-
whatever.
Yeah, right,
Maybe that's
Cherokee
what they-
Heritage has got it there.
There's back, and then they got.
So,
Yeah.
Now he's got the dimensions up here. So is that particular one?
Yeah,
Or-
that
okay.
is, and you can see the parcel lines underneath. So that subdivision you're seeing is, it is, right there on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
And there's another subdivision south of it as well. I'm pretty sure the one to the south is hooked up to sewer as well.
So they're within the initial,
But they can use a certain type of sewer line.
Right.
They just have to upgrade the sewer line,
Right.
which is not,
right?
it's not a significant.
Actually, I think they're in zone two. Well. See if I can measure that. That feels like it's a lot more than 100.
That does. It's for sure a lot more than 100. Oh, that little circle in the middle is, and then the bigger one is on two. It's just takes up every.
Right by the West Beaver School.
But the sewer line thing says 150, that little circle.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
This isn't, that's on the east of this. This is
So-
the one on Bradley Lynch's place.
The well is supposedly right in the middle, and then that circle right there, that's zone one where no sewer lines can be.
Right.
And actually that goes out to 150 feet. there are certain things that can't happen within the 100 feet, and then sewer lines can't be within 150. And then in the green area, as long as they're constructed, this is zone 2, as long as they're constructed to a certain standard,
Okay,
then they can go there.
okay.
So it really, I don't think is gonna have very much effect at all on us out west. There's a reason why you guys probably have never looked at this section code.
And zone 2 is how big? What's the diameter on zone 2?
Well,
So it's only 250, oh no, it's 200 and something days.
it's 250 day water travel time.
Right.
So they're out there pretty concentric, flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the circles look like they do.
And the water for out there is coming from up on top of the mountains.
Right.
Underneath, it's not surface water going down, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally not. Okay, yeah, and then you can see those 3 and 4. We're just gonna get out of the regulating business on 3 and 4, zones 3 and 4. But the water company would, benefit from paying attention, making sure there's not huge source pollutants in those areas. We don't have a lot of industrial going on out here either, so we don't have those kind of things to worry about either. So,
But the drainages in the Ogden Valley are a lot different. There's a lot more wells in play up there. And a lot more septic tanks because there's hardly any sewer up there at all.
right,
Meaning none.
exactly.
Well, over Powder Mountain and a little bit around Huntsville, right?
They all just go in the dam.
Yeah, sure.
Well, they go to
Right,
basically a
yeah.
large, septic
Right.
system.
You see the dark orange? That dark orange is zone 2. You cannot have a septic system anywhere in that dark orange. That is that's thousands of acres. So we don't want to be in the business of denying people their property rights without due process. We also don't want to be in the business of pretending like we understand safe drinking water either. That's the health department's role, and that's the Division of Water Quality's role. This also came at a time when the state was really trying hard to streamline and consolidate what they're doing, and they did that by pushing some of what would be their responsibilities onto the jurisdictions without funding. So it's just kind of a little bit of a pushback and, setting up some boundaries, letting the health department know that we support them, we respect them, and they can continue to do the work that they want to do. But it's not on us. Okay. That is drinking water source protection. That's the only other biggest change aside from the form-based zone. So if you don't mind, yeah. If you'll recall, yeah, we did talk a little bit about how maybe the commissioners weren't going to support adding some flexibility. I'll let you know in your last meeting that we did talk to them and they are supporting adding flexibility in the form-based zone. So there's quite a bit that we could do in the form-based to make it more user-friendly for Western Weaver. Admittedly, there's still a lot that we need to do. It would have been nice if we could have started with Western Weaver in creating a form-based zone, but we can still make those changes over time. It's also timely that we're getting some of these questions on property that could possibly be zoned form-based because it's exposing some flaws that probably wouldn't have existed if those same questions were asked in the Ogden Valley. Because the Ogden Valley, the market is usually takes care of that in terms of design. So a couple of things in the form-based to know. We're putting the same density calculation on form-based street types as we are on as we did in the residential zones. So the 2.9 units the acre and the 3.7 and the total area divided by 15,000 square feet, total area divided by 12,000, total area divided by 10,000, and so forth. So those densities are in there.
So when they come to us, they'll know how many units they get instead of
Yes.
drawing different pictures with the same amount of houses.
Yes, that's it, that's right. It also,
Density is important, that's all they care. They walk out the door, all they care is what's my density now.
it is still high for the multifamily residential and the mixed use commercial. The density is high, and so we'll still probably want to constrain that through rezones.
Yeah, and make sure that it's the right product. I mean, that's the biggest concern is they're like, I want 8 billion homes, but I'm not willing to pay the money to stack.
Yep.
And then, So,
And that's, so I stopped short of saying stacked for multifamily residential, but I kind of think we should maybe take that step and say, this is stacked, just like we did with our residential, our R3A, R3S. R3A is attached townhomes, row homes, whatever that is. R3S is stacked. We could certainly do that for the form base.
or maybe if there's just like more stringent parking and setback, and so they get to a point where they just can't do the density because we've delineated enough of the, like, I'm a little nervous about 7 townhomes connected that yeah, I don't know. Oh, I wish there were
Sarah?
architects working on this.
This was good. It's true.
They hired real architects in the Ogden Valley, and that's what's happening in West.
Actually, that's the best way to say that.
They want to sell their product when they're done. Right now, we're getting investors who want to sell the idea of the product, not an end product.
Right.
And so they're flipping instead of thinking, is someone actually gonna buy it?
So in what we just handed out to you, flip the page over to 241. Actually, one more page, 242, this is where the flexibility is being provided, so we've got our total density calculation. Which that's basically copy and paste from the residential zones.
Right here.
Page 242. And 243.
And so this form base is mostly just in our kind of city center areas, right?
Yeah,
How
I'm
many
actually
spots
that's
are-
here.
Yeah, oh, you can have it.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah, let's see, flexibility. The marked green is the policy shift. I wanted to catch a couple of them to draw your attention.
So is this? We're making the lots smaller,
No,
page 243?
not necessarily. It's like we were doing in the residential, we're saying you've got flexibility, but you can't go above this density. Right, so the total density is whatever your
Oh, that's
acreage
two
is.
42, so that's the this one doing density.
Yep.
This one, it looks like we've increased, like we said, small lot residential was 3,000, but now we're.
You're still maxed, you're still capped on,
Oh, but just allow more variability within the,
it's, yeah, your lot sizes can
can
change.
be more variable.
So if they just wanna sell the townhome, the dirt under the townhome, that's okay too.
Okay.
In that particular, type. Yeah, so you'll see as you look through the minimum lot standards and the density types that regardless of what the lot standard says, that can't go over
The density.
that maximum density.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But they can have smaller units within that density, which makes it so they'll have more diversity because they can go smaller, which means they can go larger. Okay.
Which I think is
Necessary.
a genius idea that I wish I could say I had. But once I heard about it, I thought, let's do something about this, and we got it in our residential zone, so putting it in form base, I think is appropriate.
Is there any sort of restriction? Because what we'll end up seeing, I'll call it right now, is someone who's like, I'm going to do half of it, all cookie cutter 3,000 square foot lots, and then the other half just expensive homes. Or big lots, you know what I mean?
There is some,
Like, do we have it? To make it so
it can be a mix,
So it has to be a mix, is it, cause I'm just seeing a lot of that where they're like, well,
yeah, there's a potential, but
and
when
then it
you,
just gets like, well, we don't want.
when you look at the map, you'll be able to visualize that a little bit better. Well, let's first do this. Let's get you, this is the current map. Actually,
Oh, you're right.
Sarah, can I ask a clarifying question? Why do you want these, it's like big house, little house right next to each other?
I don't care so much, but what. The inclination I'm seeing from developers right now is they just want to cookie cutter their product out. And so it just all looks the same it's cheap. And so if they just have 2 home types and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna put a community of tiny homes. And then I'll just have these large lots. If they have a larger piece of property, we're not gonna see that community feel that we're hoping for. We're just gonna see a chunk of one product and a chunk of the other product, which is what we're trying to get away from.
Have you driven through JDC?
Yeah.
It's nice how they kind of have mixed it up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And you do kind of have chunks, but but they've still mixed it up.
Smaller chunks, not just a.
I was telling Andrew, like with
is it Heritage, is that who's doing the, like, with the townhomes that they're proposing, like, it's kind of hard, because I feel bad from a real estate standpoint. Like, the people that have the regular sized lots just to the east of them, and those lots, like, I don't know who's coming to bought them, I don't know if it's like a certain builder, or they're still trying to peddle lots, or they're gonna sell them to just you and me type of people.
Still pedaling.
They're still peddling, so then, now, all of a sudden, if we just put this chunk of townhomes that just look like, wow,
Like, as tight as they can.
yeah, so
they
it's
can
gonna
get
be
bigger.
so bad for those, I mean, I just feel bad for those people that are right there, like, it's just, like I was telling Andrew, I feel like it's a stripe on a skunk, like, it really is. Like I think you have to think about that a little bit, because it's hard for the people that are developing or doing or going to buy, cause I mean, I don't really wanna buy a lot in there and then all of a sudden it's sprung on you. Okay, well, now you got this.
Yeah, that puts in perspective, that's what.
And especially since those parcels are so small, to
Yeah.
Sarah's point. So then you have that other parcel that we don't know what's gonna happen to it.
That was
Right
supposed to,
next to it.
supposed to be a park that we
Yeah.
don't know that.
Or
is
it's part of it, yeah, you don't know, it's, so it's like, it'd be nice if they were larger chunks, or if developers would come in and buy enough landowners out to do exactly what we'd like to see them do, that's a mixture.
Yeah, right, well, and there's also the concept of the missing middle, right? Now, we're seeing homes at like, apartments right now are not being rented out because they're too small, and the large estates are going. Or, well, but like, just above an apartment is selling, which is those really small ones, and the estates where people have unlimited money, but what people really want is that in the middle, that's what would go, but they're not building it because the margins are better on the biggest home and the smallest home.
Correct.
So we kind of want to blend.
Yeah, I get the blending, I just
Yeah.
don't like it when it's, like the neighborhood to the north of you. They're all very nice, big homes, except for one little tiny house in there that doesn't feel like it fits, it
I think
looks
there's
really
just one,
weird.
yeah.
And then that developer has sold all those homes on the premise of that being the neighborhood, and now he wants to do the second phase as townhomes and other things, right? Which, if I bought and built a $2 million home in that neighborhood, I'd be pretty annoyed if I had a townhome right next to me, honestly, right? Cause that's not what I bought into, so I get the mixed use, as long as that's part of the initial sell on it, not coming in afterwards and doing it.
So that is the concern of allowing down to a 3,000 square foot lot on it. So your medium lot residential, which would normally be, like an 8,000 square foot minimum.
Like on our
Allowing
form
go
basin,
way
we
down to
already have.
3,000, I think might be a little
Everybody's
extreme.
coming back, we do.
I'd be inclined to make that more like a 5,000, because on a 5,000 square foot lot, you can still get the flexibility, but 3,000 looks very different.
So, okay, I see what you're saying.
Right, that's like a big, I agree, that's a big difference.
So this is just saying, I mean, what if it was medium small, at a 3,000 versus, it's just the way we're labeling it.
Yeah, the 3,000 I've tried to lay out as an actual not connected, so I guess these can be connected townhomes. Okay, I guess that's not so bad if they can, but the idea that it's medium, oh, it's not multifamily. It's actually, these are supposed to be single family homes.
You can
aren't
have,
they?
you can have up to 4 homes on, in the,
Small and medium.
sorry, in the small lot residential, in the medium lot residential, there's 1.
So I don't think I would go smaller than 4,000 on the medium lot residential, because I tried to play with those numbers to get that to work, and it just doesn't be a great product. Then.
So are you okay with the medium sized one, or you wanna make that one a little bit bigger or a little smaller?
We'll go 4,000 instead of 3,000.
So 4 on the small.
Well, the
And-
smallest is no minimum,
Because those ones can be connected.
those can be connected.
Okay,
But it is kind of hard though, even when they're connected, I would give them a minimum, because we're gonna see. Everyone wants to see that number, I don't know, Jack, do you like it when someone says this is the number, and then you know at least where you're headed, so you don't get through the whole process and then have someone like me go, well, I don't like it.
So,
I really don't build anything that people like. I look at
Yeah.
that from the very front.
if the properties are already zoned to the form-based zone, and we say no minimum, There's no choice, right? They come in with whatever size it is, and we have to approve it. At that point, it's relying on what the market will sell for. For these types, it's also with the, multifamily. What will the market support? So is it apartments, is it stacked, is it condos? It's gonna come down to that. What we're just saying is we're not gonna put a limit on it. Show us what it costs. And then we're gonna tackle, this is form-based, we're gonna tackle the public, challenges through form. Not necessarily through density, not necessarily through, sizes.
Question, Charlie, what do you mean public channels like the open session meetings?
Say again?
On the public challenge, explain what you're saying there.
So form-based isn't looking, it's not looking closely at density. I know that we're showing density here, and I'm doing that because I can tell we're definitely gonna need to have that conversation. It's either gonna be on a parcel by parcel basis or development by development basis, or we're gonna have it written down, so might as well write it down, but the intention of form-based is to make it look attractive. So if you've got the right architectural styling, if you got the right setbacks, if you got the right site development standards, then the size and the density, lot sizes and densities don't matter. It just comes down to what the market will support in those cases. So you could have a single family, and you could have townhomes and passion right next to each other. The single family on a 3,000 square foot lot with a very small backyard, but that's still 1,500 square foot footprint of a home with some setbacks. 2-story, that's 3,000 square feet.
On a 3,000 square foot lot,
Mhm.
we can't do it with our separate, I've tried.
Sorry?
With the garage and everything.
Oh, well, rear load, right? So if you're rear loaded
With
through
the
alley,
footprint,
Well, if you're deep enough, you can put the garage halfway in front, you can.
yeah, anyway, it's a tough one.
right?
I've
So
tried that.
the point is that if we're setting thresholds, are we setting thresholds that are constraining market innovation? And if we are there ways to avoid constraining the market innovation but not getting cracked? Right, that's what we want to do.
And I guess what my concern is I would love to see the market to control it. But, and I was more in your camp, but we're getting developers who aren't builders, and they're selling numbers, and all we're doing is inflating the cost of the land. So that someone can flip it and find out that they can't build a product that people want.
Right.
At the densities that the developer has already inflated the land to.
Yeah.
And so I wish we could trust, the problem is we'll be too far down the road.
Yeah.
When we find out that the market can't bear it.
So
That's my concern.
the other thing to think about, the form-based zone is, it's not designed, this form-based zone specifically, is not designed to look at the bigger tracks. And so you're right, with the developers coming in with bigger tracts of land saying, we want to flip whatever we can and let somebody else suffer the consequences. It's designed to apply to the smaller parcels that are already owned or that could
Which
split.
is most of Weaver County.
That could split one or two ways, right? It's designed so that this landowner can play with this landowner in the same sandbox, knowing what the design standards are, without having to bend over backwards trying to figure out what magic they need to produce. Once we start looking at bigger lot sizes, or bigger parcels that are being developed, I think we're still gonna wanna do development agreements.
But with the, what's the name of the one that's been coming to us week after week?
Heritage.
Heritage, it's not a big piece of land, but not having a density target has been a huge problem. That's where I want a density target.
I don't think their problem is a density problem. I think the problem that they have is they wanna get in and get out, and it shows. It shows in the product that they're providing. When I sat down with them, I said, what, maybe if you could show the planning commission what it looks like, they'll be a little bit more inclined to approve it. And then they showed me products that they have. And I said, I don't think they're gonna be inclined to approve that. So.
Were you here when they showed that to us? And I told them that was actually?
You did?
Okay.
Yes, so I think that we're in the right spot with that project. It's not the right project. It might not be the right developers. right? So that's the other issue with developers, sorry, not that developers have issues. Nobody takes offense, no one take offense to that. The other challenge with developers. I looked right at
We
you
can
and
talk
said.
about, we talked about planning traditions too, so.
Reverse.
One of the challenges with certain types of developers is they have their product, just like
Yeah,
Sarah
they
said.
won't.
And they won't yield away from that product because it's tried and true. It's risk to venture over into other types of products. Yet, if we just have their product, it's just lick it, stick, lick it, stick, lick it, stick, right? You're not getting the flavor, you're not getting the diversity of community. And I think that is what. Right.
What
I
did
think
they
that's
say
what our
when
issue
you
is
told
with
them
Heritage.
that, Charlie?
What's that?
What did Heritage say when you told them that?
I didn't tell them that part.
Oh, I thought you were, not that part.
Oh, the other,
Their units were ugly.
no,
did.
they said, well, we're trying to hit an affordability threshold. And I said, you're gonna be the first development under the form-based zone, the first higher density development that's out there. I don't think we're trying to target any kind of affordability threshold right now. I think that's gonna need to come later.
Affordable, but let's go back to the stripes on the skunk, because we are talking about smaller, same owner, but smaller pieces of land that they're phasing differently. So we had standalone homes. Now we're trying to go from that product directly into,
Yes.
a high density situation, not apartment high density, but high density.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't, the mix doesn't happen. So when we talk about these smaller pieces of land, there has to be a better way to mix in the product, especially from the same damn developer.
When I'm saying smaller pieces, I'm not saying smaller pieces that can put a ton. I'm saying a piece that's gonna have a set of townhomes on it, a piece that's gonna have a apartment building on it.
So much smaller pieces.
Much smaller.
Okay, fair.
I'm not talking about what heritage, I'm not even talking about the 10 to 20 acre pieces.
Right, you're talking, yeah,
Like
Five.
1 acre parcel. or-
yeah,
Yeah.
1 to
One
3,
smaller.
1 to 5, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you look at the map, the back is the same, it's just a blown up version of what's in town. This is the map that's adopted. If Heritage followed what's on the map, and I sat down with them after the last discussion with you guys, and I said, look, I'm gonna draw this out for you. You're just showing 7 plexes all over the place, and then some smaller residential lots in the back. There's no transition, there's no,
Right.
you could see a seam everywhere. I think that, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I told them, I think that's what the planning commission's problem is. I don't necessarily think it's that building, might not even be that product, it's that product everywhere and then houses, right?
Well, but that's where we need the density cap, because if we don't tell them you're capped at this density, they're only going to build, like, we can do everything with setback, but they're gonna say, well, I can do as much density as I want, so it's all going to be the design standards of this one, until I get to the orange, where I can go a different, we're only going to see, there's not gonna be diversity unless we have a density target. I just don't think we can, I don't know why they'd be like, they're
Sorry,
tell me
we've
how
got it.
many I can do.
We do have a density target,
There is.
there's a cap on density, yep, that's what this one is.
Oh, you just, the lot size,
Oh, that's
so we
what this
do
one
have
is.
that one, okay, good.
Yeah, so, you're referring to the lot size.
Oh, okay, but the lot sizes, we are keeping the density, okay, for a second,
Yes.
I thought we were keeping the density, I was like, no, we have to, I don't understand this the other way.
But in my opinion, these densities are still high, at first. I think we'll wanna do development agreements that limit density. I was looking at, I'm gonna hand out another map to you guys, that's a redrawing of this map that includes what Black Pine's doing over on, Bennett.
Yeah, this is too tight, like this 3,000. Yeah.
So we'll be able to see 3,000 was the minimum, not do it, right? It's not do it at 3,000, this is the minimum. I don't know that you're gonna see a lot of market return, because I think you can't fit a whole lot on 3,000 square. You might be able to get a single family dwelling on there, it's gonna be
You
tight,
can get a 1-car garage dwell, like single family, which I don't mind some of those,
or a no car garage.
but they have to have
Oh,
somewhere to
sorry,
park.
or a no garage.
It can be a no garage, but they're gonna have somewhere on site to park,
Yeah.
so it's the same square footage of the lot, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so if the lot is if your building is 10 feet off of the front property line, 5 or 7 feet off the sides, you've got maybe 15 feet in the back to park. Maybe 20 feet in the back to park, I have to do the math.
You need at least 20, because 15 feet isn't enough to park.
So around the corner from my house, there is an alleyway that comes in and people pull into the alleyway and they park.
Oh,
Sides.
Oh.
Right, and they've actually got two right in there. So they have to meet all of the other standards. That's the important part to remember. They have to meet our parking requirements. They have to be, they can't be higher than our height. They can't, they have to meet our setbacks. And so we're just saying, don't go stupid small unless you're in one of these other one of these other types, like small lot residential or multifamily. And if you get small lot residential or multifamily, you can't go stupid small because your lot might just be the footprint of the building. Right?
But this isn't the law, this is saying you take the total square footage and divide it by the square footage. So that means you're getting like 2,000 square feet for your small lot residential, that's what I'm worried about is. It doesn't make sense to have a 3,000 square foot lot minimum, and then your max density is that total area divided by 2,000, that means you have, to build to the smallest, you would have 0 roads, 0.
But they can't, right? They can't have zero roads or 0 amenities or anything. And so I see what the concern is.
I just think we need to have a more realistic target so that when we get people coming in who are really just looking at this table going, okay, I've got so much area, divide by, that's how many lots I need to have, and I am not gonna look at the rest of your code. I'm not gonna follow your setbacks, I'm gonna bargain with you and tell you that because I am entitled to this density, I'm not gonna need anything else.
They're gonna do that anyway.
Well, let's give them a better number here, and then we'll have less to fight with there.
Wait,
I forgot, they always say, the way I interpret the code.
well, yeah, I can't tell you how many developers I've sat down with and they said, well, we thought we could X, Y, and Z. You told us X, Y, and Z. I said, yep, it said you could do that. You also have to do all of these other things. Well, we didn't know that. Had we known that, we would have offered less on the property.
Yeah.
They should have did your homework.
Right.
But that is the issue, but this is the only thing they actually understand. Like, that everyone coming in understands it's gonna be this table, so I would want to see this more reasonable where there are streets and there are like, yeah, but a more reasonable density target that we think is actually feasible.
Sorry, so on the density, you're talking about the density, not the lot sizes now.
Yeah, the density target,
So keep in mind, these density numbers are already in your residential zones. I just copied and pasted it.
the small lot residential is 3,000, I thought it was 5,000.
So, no, for, in our residential zones,
Yeah,
no, so R2, so you've got we've got R115, R112, R110, R15, then we have R2. And then
but
we
that's
have
not meant for single family homes, that's meant for connected homes.
that's for two, yeah, but it's meant for duplexes.
Okay,
Yeah, and small lot residential, you could put a single family home on it, but you can also put a quad, you could put a duplex, you could
getting
put a
small and
tri.
medium, okay. That one, okay, and then the medium lot residential is 6,000,
Yes,
which is 7.2 per acre.
yes.
Okay, I got the two mixed up, I feel better about that now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Cause we can,
The small lot, so it's 3,000, but that means that you can do it, or town,
small or a quad.
or farm.
Yep.
And it's 14.5.
Yeah, so that is,
That is kind of a lot. I
That is
think
kinda
I
high.
wanna see,
and it didn't really hurt anything to say 14.5 or 24.2 when we were doing the residential zones, because we don't have anything zoned to them yet, right? But now we're talking about rubber hitting the road and perhaps.
24.2, like, yeah, I would think, oh, because you're gonna need room for your parking, even when you have like 24 units per acre. I don't know how they'd have any sort of amenities or any sort of,
But they have to. So they might not be able to get that 24.
but they're,
Then why offer? So then why offer? I put it out there.
Because they still could potentially get the 24. It's up to how they design it. It's up to how tall it is. It's up to the floor area ratio. It's up to whether or not they put the parking underneath instead of in the back. There are a variety of ways that
oh,
they
they
can
put
solve
the
it.
parking underneath.
The 1,800?
If they put
That's the only way they could do it.
Charlene? Were you talking about
Otherwise,
letting
it's
go?
Like,
Big buildings.
That's just for this one.
Are you, Charlie, are you talking about letting them go up in the air vertical?
So the form-based
Three
zone,
before?
no, you're good, in the, for the government and institutional, vehicle-oriented commercial and mixed-use commercial, the height is 60 feet.
Oh,
So
we
it's,
are talking.
yeah, it's twice what our single families are. Yeah, so you get 4 and 5 story buildings
Uh-huh,
in those 3
wow,
types.
in West Weaver.
Well, we haven't applied that zone to any property.
Okay, I know, that's.
Yeah, so with that in mind, you could potentially get your 24.2 because you're going up several floors. Yeah, but you're also gonna need to figure out where you're gonna put your cars.
But wait a minute, that's commercial, government, right, mixed use commercial,
Yeah,
but then multifamily residential.
well, mixed use commercial still allows residential, you have to have that commercial frontage.
Okay,
Same with vehicle oriented, you could still have residential, I think the market generally, well, I'm gonna eat my words at some point, will support, vehicle oriented commercial operations like grocery store, over, mixed residential. Grocers don't wanna be landlords, right? And so if they wanna target that spot for their grocery store, they're not gonna also have, usually, they're not gonna have, apartments or condos, on that same site. So, but you could have, you could have CVS right there in the corner with a residence on top, right? CVS on the corner and your Starbucks and your whatever it is, and we're creating a village here, right? And then behind it and above, you could potentially have some residences.
Pretty extreme difference, but like City Creek, Harmon's there, don't they have residential stuff over the top of them? or below? Okay.
Downtown does.
I don't think
We
Harmon's,
went all electric too,
I don't think Harmon's own,
crazy.
I could
Still-
be wrong, but I don't think Harmon's owns that building. I think they
Oh,
are
there's-
leasing that space, yeah.
Probably
And that's,
Fish and all that.
right, yeah, so if you go to some of these village areas, you'll find the same kind of thing. Where there's either a building owners association where everyone buys into it, or it's just rental space or lease space or whatnot. And it's just, the important thing is that ground floor's gotta be, at least in mixed use commercial, vehicle oriented commercial and government institutional, like ground floor's gotta be built in a way that you could have a wide variety of commercial, retail, services, all kinds of uses in them. And then above and behind could potentially be residential.
so above and behind, like at the end of a parking lot or something behind, is that what we're talking about?
Let's say you've
Or are we
got,
talking connected,
oh, it could be connected, both.
both disconnected or connected?
Yep, could be both.
Because I'm thinking about, I'm just, and this is probably a bad example, but it's one that comes to mind, and that's in West Point, and that's Smith's. I mean, look at all the apartments they build up around that, and they're just on the edge of the parking lot. I mean, you have all of the fast food places, you have the big grocery store and whatever's connected to that same building. And then you've got this multitude of higher density, they're 3 level at least, right? If I remember right, apartments. And I've seen that in Salt Lake down at Winco store in, I don't know that that's it's West Salt Lake, or I guess it could be West Valley, but I don't think it's quite out in West Valley yet.
The density of the apartments around the place we chose a lane for Culver's was critical, not because of the density of people coming, but because we needed a place for our workers to live. And we found that we could actually hire enough people because they can walk to, most of the people are working fast food, can't even afford a car. So apartments right next to commercial is super functional. I mean, it's not a place people live all the time, sometimes it's transitional, like if you're young, you need a job.
So you gotta get at West Point and Clearfield, Clearfield have the same thing as far as mixed use, but didn't we ask that before and they said that it hasn't been working well for whatever reason, like as far as those businesses are failing underneath them?
Yep,
Yeah,
the
it's
developer,
expensive to build.
that's one of the biggest limiters of all of this. You're not going to 60 feet. Once you get over a certain threshold, you gotta have different building material. It's a lot more expensive. You're probably doing a concrete podium or some kind of a podium that then you could stick frame on top of. It totally changes all the building codes and everything that's applicable, right? So the issue that I think we're gonna have with developers, I mean, sure, they're gonna misread and misunderstand, we're gonna tell them that they're wrong. Till we're blue in the face, but they're gonna come in saying, I can't afford to build that.
Yeah.
Just like we heard on the one building that we said, make the bottom useful for all kinds of uses. They said, I can't afford that. Now, I don't know if they can't, I think they don't want to. It's
Well-
not their product, and so they don't know, there's risk in entering that side of the market because they don't know what their outcomes are gonna be there.
It just takes a huge amount of, I mean, there's a reason that we're only seeing it in downtown Salt Lake. Otherwise, we're seeing a big box store with nothing on top of it. Because the cheapest type of construction, we're seeing concrete tilt if they're doing big buildings or masonry building. Like, we're not seeing those steel frame glass buildings because once you put something on top of those big buildings, it's very expensive. I don't know if honestly, I don't know if we'll ever see that out in West Weaver. Because we've got too many other
With you.
sheds everywhere.
Well, I think
So is it a poor place for form base?
That just depends. Whether or not we will see that versus a variety of other uses. Are there other uses that will still function
Within the form
within
base?
form base? That's the other question. And I've got some images, I've got some graphics, I beefed up, I souped up the design standards and put some others buildings in there so you can see kind of what they look like. Give me just a minute before you turn to that page. I just wanted to pull the map that you're looking at, just so we can all speak the same language here.
So, Charlie, quick question for you,
Mhm.
while you're looking that up. So is the two handouts that you gave us today make up what was on the attachment that Marta sent out?
No, if the electronic attachment is like 600 pages, sorry.
Okay.
Most of it is just scroll, because a lot of it's just black line and nothing changed. Or, it's capitalization, stuff like that. But the meat and potatoes are
Is
highlighted
this,
in, yeah. And we already talked about the other thing that I wanted you guys to pay attention to, so, I think this is the other thing. We can always say, we're not ready. Let's talk about this. Let's go ahead, move this out of all the changes and let's put this on subsequent work sessions and let's keep working on it. We can do that. I just figured if we got an opportunity and consensus, maybe we are okay with that. So either way, any of the things that's in that 500 pages, any of those chapters could be pulled out. So actually, just logistics of how that meeting next week is going to go. When you make a motion, if you know that you want certain chapters pulled out and tabled for another time, just motion to recommend approval, except not this chapter, this chapter, this chapter, we'll work on those another time. Something like that.
But we do need to do something with this chapter, because right now it applies to us and we're not liking how it's applied.
Well, it's not applicable to any property though, so you're not at risk.
Oh, it's not applicable.
Not yet. It hasn't been applied to any property, so they have to change the zone to even get this.
They have to get it, they have to rezone to get it, right, okay.
So you still have full control over that. Their complaint is, you don't even like your own form-based zone and we want to comply with it. They don't.
They're not.
They're double speaking because they're not complying. So I sat them down and I drew polygons, the normal zoning maps that you see. Instead of the streets, I just drew polygons and said, all right, here's red, this red, here's a polygon around that red. Everything inside that polygon is mixed commercial, and everything on that list that allows mixed commercial you could do. But in order to do mixed commercial, you have to have retail store frontage. You don't have to have retail in there. You just have to have retail store frontage. And then you can have what you want up on top. You can have what you want in the back, as long as the facade of the building is attractive, right? And then I drew my finger around the orange and said, this is multifamily. If you're looking at your 7 plexes, it would fit in that constrained space. If you actually propose that, it might look like we're transitioning from a little higher density to the single family over there. I did say they're at a little bit of a disadvantage because these solid lines, that is that development. And we know that those are going to be, are they going vertical there yet? I don't know if there's
a couple built.
Are there?
There's a couple, yeah, there's.
And that was one of the reasons I was hoping we can get this done quickly, because if someone buys, and there are several different people looking to buy it, they keep on asking questions. If someone buys, they might have the opportunity to get in and split a couple of those lots a couple more times, so that there is a better transition to the next development, or so it slowly transitions out to lighter density. So mixed use commercial, multifamily, we're saying you have a cap on how much density you can put in there, But you don't have a cap on what your lot size is. What's the market gonna provide? Is it gonna be studio apartments? Is it gonna be townhomes attached? Is it gonna be single family? There's a variety you can, actually not single family. That's the one thing you can't do in these two zones. And then you switch over to small lot residential. You could do single family, you could do up to 2, 3, and 4 plexes on a single lot. You could still do like a PRUD, like a bigger piece where we're just taking the density and applying it. If the planning commission approves a PRUD overlay, that would be a completely different conversation than just the form-based zone. That's this here. Right, well, here, there we go. And then back behind that, there's where you have your single family only, which I think we say 8,000 square foot minimum,
We,
might be 3,000 square
we
foot.
say. The small lot residential is at 3,000 right now, which. So I guess my concern is. Western Weaver is the county and the amount of area in this form-based zone, which I love the concept of it. But the feasibility of it in the next 100 years, I think is 0.
Wow, that's very bad.
Yeah, I just, in our rate of growth and the necessity of that dense of housing that far away from current civilization, I mean, I would like to see it happen, but I don't think people will do it.
So do you said you have a map of like what they're planning on doing over at Bennett Farms? So do we know, I mean,
Bennett is doing this.
right, they're doing this, but they're doing it on the other side of 47.
And on a much bigger area.
Like JDC, like, right, like
Right.
it's the big
I can see it
whole,
when they plan out the whole area,
Yeah,
right?
but in these chunks,
so this is us planning out the whole area in anticipation for smaller chunks coming.
and where we've already entitled those 2 big ones,
That
I think we're just gonna be competing.
Okay, and that's a really important question. So the planning commission did tell us to go ahead with amending the general plan. They don't want the big corridor transportation plan yet, that they were talking about last year. They'll probably ask for that next year. That plan, I think we're gonna need to have a really good economist working for us. And we're gonna need a really good transportation consultant, because that one is probably gonna be more than just streets. It's gonna be streets, it's gonna be rail, it's gonna be trail, might be air if market gets this way. So there's a few, and it's gonna be transits. There's a few different ways that we are gonna look at that next year. This year, we're gonna look at everything that is east of the river. Just, is it the right thing? And this is where we could say, you know what, it was the right thing until we had those 2 big developments, and now that we have those 2 big developments, we don't think it's the right thing.
I think we need to concentrate our densities and then just feather this out. Personally, in the red zone, can we have big box stores? I can't remember. So they can't, but they don't have to have a residential component?
No.
Okay,
In the orange, you can have a commercial component, you don't have to. In the red, you have to have commercial, you don't have to have residential.
okay.
I would almost like to go through that process on the general plan, because let's think about it. The general plan was approved in 2022. It's almost 4 years ago.
Mhm.
At that time, we had 2 huge, robust dairies that nobody ever thought were gonna go away.
Yeah.
We were entertaining black pine just on the fringe, on the PCC,
Yeah.
on the Promontory Center,
Yeah.
right? Fringe, we were just kind of getting some start.
Right.
Well, look at how much it's changed, but not only that changed, the economy changed tremendously.
Yep.
And I'm not so sure that we wouldn't be better off looking at this as the rezone first before we go through all the code change. I don't know.
You mean rezoning?
Or excuse me, not the rezone, the general plan upgrade is what I meant to say.
Geographic.
Because I just think that so much has changed, and with that change, expectation has changed.
Yes, agreed. So what you're thinking is maybe instead of the details that we're looking at now, we wait until the end of that And we see if it still makes sense at the end of that. Is that what you're-
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
The only thing is, in the meantime,
What
we
happened?
have a form base area. We have things that we gotta deal with, so.
Well, we have a form-based area, but the form-based zone hasn't been applied to it yet. So right now, they're zoned A1. And if they want to develop A1, they can. If they want to come in and ask for a R150, I think they probably can, even though our general plan says we want to see something a little bit more dense in this area. Maybe we're okay with starting with R115 out there.
But it comes down to the point that they've made, that, Tammy and Sarah made, and that is, you've now got these big developments that are,
Well beyond.
well, yeah, exactly where we were when we did the general plan, so. I don't know, what does everybody think? I'm spitting that out there to.
Where's the corridor going? Do we know this?
That's the other issue and one of the reasons why they're not doing the bigger one until next year. We should know where the corridor is going by next year.
So Bennett Farm, they really won't even they won't get going if they don't know where the corridor is going, correct?
They will. In fact, they will probably want to beat the corridor because the chances it goes to their property is less if UDOT has to tear houses down. The chances they go
They
around.
get paid either way, so I might as well start and help the corridor goes when they tell them to. They're gonna have to buy it from them.
That property has been entitled with 3,000 dwelling units, so UDOT's gonna have to pay a pretty penny. They're not buying that for farmland, they're buying that for.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense, so that's what okay.
I think what we gotta concentrate on is what we can control. We can't control. And, yeah, it'd be nice to know that. But I don't know that we're gonna know that,
Right.
even in a year.
Right.
So I think we concentrate on the road being where we put it for right now. Or in our minds, we kind of put it out of mind, out of sight. Or reverse that. And we move forward with what we see this being now. With today's circumstances, because there's a huge difference between what the circumstances are today versus what they were. When that thing got approved.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jed?
Well, I think. Anytime you do a change that's not all here. And you have the neighbors come into the meeting. I think it makes it awful hard for us to change anything. Unless it's on here first.
Yep, I agree. I'm gonna pull up
I
the,
mean, we've done it. Who would have thought that, what was that, 13,000 units?
yeah, 13,200.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was on the general plan map. That was there, so we had that plan.
That one conformed.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they did
fine.
because they asked as we were going through the planning process, they got on the right cycle.
And Bennett
They were
Farms
here
conformed.
before, that's right.
Support further out.
They practically wrote that, I remember.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the general plan map. Let's see. Hopefully they have the new one. So this is the one, if it's the right one. Now, it's taking a long time to open, that tells me it's probably not the right one. When we looked at the Bennett project, that was one of the questions that I asked. I think I specifically asked the county.
Is that the one on 4,700?
Yeah.
That's the 3,000.
Gibson,
Okay.
GGA.
The question that I asked was, if this goes here, does the intersection, does the 900 south, 4,700 west, 12th street, does that change? And at the time, the county commissioners kind of sounded like, no. What we did do is we shifted just a little bit. It wasn't a lot. We shifted a little bit to the west, to push it more towards the Bennett project, than it was before. So hang on a second, long range planning. Gotta talk myself through this. General plan, so. General plan, Gibson. Maps. Word.
And Charlie, I guess, what's the expectation of the commission? You know, I mean, we know that their expectation for the general plan, that was in the work session on Monday. But what's their expectation on code?
I think that they want things to be streamlined. They are very much of the opinion of this needs to be a nice community. We're not giving away free density. So if you're not gonna bring something that we like, you're not getting the density. They've said that several different times. In fact, a couple of different times, Gage has said, Charlie, it just seems like we're just saying yes to everyone. But only saying yes to everyone because they're giving exactly what we're asking for. Well, are you sure? You know, so he's checking to make sure, are we getting the parks? Are we getting the trails? Are we getting the streets, the good connectivity? The only one thing that we haven't dived into on any of that is building design, right? With very few exceptions. And mostly because I think that with the larger lot, single family homes, the types of buildings you're gonna get on those are generally decent. But if we start seeing some Ron Clairs going up, we're probably gonna rush to create some.
That won't happen again.
I would hope not.
Well, land's not that cheap.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't know, you buy really expensive land, you don't
What's
have any more money.
Your minimum, your maximum lowest lot out there is probably 260.
Yeah.
And the bank requires that to be 25% of the cost at minimum, so
Okay, so this
you're
is,
looking at 246 plus.
Yeah, I just am seeing, I just feel like there's too much red for what we'll be able to support.
thank you, yes, so I told the commissioners, that is.
And too much orange, quite honestly.
Well, the orange here doesn't mean multifamily. Orange here means mixed residential. Which
But still, yeah.
we haven't sussed out exactly what that is, right?
Is that what this is doing?
It puts a finer point on what this map does, right? But come on, get in a little closer here. Oh, too close. The big concern I have with a corridor study was, well, if the request from the commission is, you need to look at where these primary streets are and where these intersections are, because that's where those commercial areas are gonna be. Like, is that really? Will we at 15,000 square foot average lot sizes have enough to actually support that much commercial? And frankly,
No,
I don't know the answer.
I don't think so.
I think the answer is.
Enough of them, I think we will, just not that much.
I don't think we will either. I mean, and then like today, I mean, we were talking about Far West, how they're putting the target in
Yeah.
Far West finally, right?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have stuff out there behind.
Should have been.
Parking out and stuff. But maybe we'll get a.
Maybe didn't bring 'em city.
Who knows?
Well,
Right, but look at how much density, like I was telling Tammy, look how much density in North Ogden, Pleasant View, Far West, Plain City, Perry, Willard. Like, look how much we've had to have for that commercial to even happen on 2,700 or 2,600 out there.
The fine print of what's.
Like, you have to have so many people in order for them to go, oh yeah, we're gonna build something like that.
yeah, but now you gotta keep in mind, so you're getting a Target and what comes along with Target out there,
Yes,
okay? But now over in Hooper on the end of 4,700, you're talking about a Smith's,
yeah,
a super.
Yeah,
Like in West Point. So, I mean, how far away are we?
yeah, but look at all the stuff that had to happen like in West Haven first,
Sure.
or like Walmart.
But it's just like.
They've had that forever.
Did it have to happen, though, or is it just what they allowed to happen? Because that
Well,
was one of the biggest problems, right? They didn't allow, or they wasn't trying to bring in commercial supposedly. That's what the residents say.
Oh,
But I know that you have to have so many houses.
you do have to
before
have
they-
people to go
Right.
do it.
But when you look at what is going in and compared to our map, it is a small commercial area compared to what we're
Big,
saying is going
yeah.
out here.
like it's not a center, it's just,
It's like one little
Yeah.
plot, yeah, and it's taking that much to support one
whole-
plot. And if you look at all of Utah, what's already developed, like you go to most of the downtowns, they just can't support what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see, it's not that I don't like the concept, I just don't think it financially works where we've got land that they're gonna build, it's cheaper to build further out somewhere else, and so we're not constrained.
Right.
But, and I don't know that we wanna constrain, we end up like, you know, we've seen Colorado do it, and then it doesn't work, you know, so the constraining doesn't work. Yeah, so that's my thing, is feasibility wise, maybe we do wanna constrain the commercial, like have less commercial, so that they do feel there's a viability to people coming to one spot.
So that is what Ogden is leaning into, and it's what Ogden wanted the Wasatch Front Regional Council to really pedal hard on the last regional transportation plan was,
Around those hubs.
yeah, was
Around the hubs.
do we wanna do urban core, or do we wanna do, satellite hubs? Well, Ogden City already tried satellite hubs. I mean, every intersection, you've got a quaint little, corner store, or at least used to be a corner store that's been turned into a house, or turned into an apartment or a halfway house, right?
Yeah.
Or it's vacant. Yeah, right, so the whole micro economy didn't work in those areas. However, if you go to Denver, they found that microeconomies can work, but they went up. They went up, I mean, 5, 6, 7 stories.
And that's really the only place those economies work, is you have to be dense enough where you're piling people up, that's
Well,
your Manhattan.
And they also have recreational marijuana, people don't wanna go very far.
Yes, I can't want that part.
You got your Cheetos, you don't want to walk very.
Yeah, you got.
But in Austin, you don't wanna get rid of your line, right? You can ride your car, but you can
That's
grab a
actually fair.
scooter and end up in the.
So if you legalize it here, we can go up.
Donovan.
Oh, yeah,
Donovan was strict. That's what I was told.
So I think that is the setting in which I'm looking at the higher densities here. But if we're not comfortable, or if that doesn't match the community, or if we're just not ready yet, then maybe we just sell.
I don't think we're ready until we see somebody come in with more of a larger area proposal, like the bigger projects that we've seen.
Like when Flagship brought that in.
Well, so
And-
Flagship and Bennett,
There's
just,
a lot of pretty ink.
I'm gonna predict this, it's because it's the way the economy works, but I want you guys to be oversold.
Yeah,
They're gonna be single family for years.
sure.
They might get a couple of townhomes, maybe some duplexes in there, but for the most part, for the next 5, 10 years, all we're gonna see is houses.
Where was that?
And in Flagship and in Bennett.
What makes you say that?
Because they just, the grocers and the commercial businesses aren't gonna move out there because they don't have the density in proximity. So it's not just people, it's also people in proximity.
Well, and I'm worried that we're reserving all of this prime land for commercial, when commercial will go where there's space when it's needed. So maybe we want to encourage whatever quality residential to go out there, and then
The doors?
when there's still space available, you know, we protect our prime core, you know, our prime intersections,
Mhm.
but maybe not quite so much,
Yes,
so that there is that opportunity. I don't think people are gonna put their single family frontage on, you know, these big streets, but,
well, we don't allow that.
right, yeah, we don't allow it, but.
Do hospitals fall under commercial?
Government and institutional. So.
I'm surprised that somebody from Intermountain, one of the big ones hasn't, well, or maybe they own property, but they haven't put a plan in to have something up further north or even west of where we're at.
There's an Ogden clinic that owns on the corner of 25, 50.
Yeah, 3,500, but that's
Is that-
like a hospital, because it's getting harder to get to like McKay or go clear to Brigham City. right?
I think McKD had that property bought that Smiths went on out, or thought that they sold it. They had that for like 40 years.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Thought something was,
2,600.
no, by Toads. I thought something was purchased over there by,
They own the Toads land, don't
they own the Toads. I think there's a new hospital institution that owns Toads by Amazon.
They also own, it's probably not big enough, but they also own a few acres across the street from JDC. IHC does.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
I've heard that, yeah, that they wanna put a little clinic or something right there too.
Well, have you seen all those buildings that have gone up behind the golf course, behind Toads? There's rows and rows of tildups over there now.
And that has something to do with Black Pine.
Yeah,
If you look that up, Black Pine's name's on
You
that.
know,
So I guess I'm concerned about putting too much really dense housing, like the apartments, not townhomes as much, but yeah, kind of in the connected housing. I'm worried about committing to that right now.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the infrastructure to support that kind of intense density yet. And I'd rather see that closer to our cities where it's already developed, and then keep, our 30 acre lots for a little while until, I don't know, I just don't know how to balance it, but I'm concerned about plugging a whole bunch of density out in Timbuktu where we don't have the funds to support people going way out there and back.
Yeah.
It just makes the county's expenses higher and the level of service lower.
So the county commissioners on that, in that respect, we have been talking with them, both online and offline about, possibility of a municipal services tax increase. They might look at it a little bit for everyone, but they're really interested in looking at a lot for new development. And so we've done the homework. The legal says so far that it is lawful to do. We've got to go through truth and taxation, and it might not be something that happens on an election year. So we might have to wait until next year to get something like that done.
Well, so now we're back to, do we proceed with what we're doing on changing code, or are we gonna do we wanna look at the general plan first? And I'm inclined to both, but it seems like it might be a good idea to look at the general plan as long as we can deal with applicants that come in the meantime. Are we okay to keep doing things the way that we've been doing them? I mean, other than we have this instance now where we have somebody that wants to use the form base. And I think that
Well, I can't say that they want to use it.
right.
They've been told by us that there's probably not a lot of options for them right here, right now.
Right.
But maybe we can make options.
So that's so by changing by looking at the general plan and any potential changes that might come from that. Maybe that changes, what they might be looking at doing there. I don't know. Is it the chicken or the egg,
That's what I was just gonna ask, how much is it? I know that we did a lot of changes with the general plan, and then we were saying we need our code to match it. We kept worrying about that. What's more important, having the code done so that we can just,
Yeah.
and then the general plan later, cause we'll just base it off of the code, or are we gonna have to go through this all over again?
Well, so that's something I've tried to help Sharon see. Planning is a cycle, right? Plan, implement, evaluate, plan, implement, evaluate. So it keeps going. Yep.
Because we don't control the land. We
Right.
don't control
We don't
development.
control the people
Well, yeah, we
or
don't.
the
Plus,
jobs.
we gotta kind of follow their lead and make sure we're giving a quality product on.
Right now, houses really aren't attainable unless you're second or third buyers.
Yeah.
I'm still not obtaining anything.
Plus, if we keep that cycle going, I get a keep job. So let's just,
So I think you gotta
Real
keep the
estate makes some
density in
code
there.
changes that we will never have done.
no kidding. So I'm trying to get in just a little closer on. So the maps you're looking at is the street regulating plan map for the form-based zone. It doesn't apply to any property yet. It would apply if the form-based zone was, if property was rezoned. But this map is the general plan map, and it's the one that was updated after Bennett, right? And when Bennett went in, this shrank a lot. In fact, I think what we're showing here on these maps is probably excessive compared to what this shows.
You shifted it over to Bennett.
So it shifted in this way and a little bit that way, right? But this is the property right here that is in question, right? Showing a little bit of mixed use commercial.
Next to the Christmas tree.
Right, yeah.
That's our 20 acre park land as well.
Whoa, don't say too loud. Got a story for you, but
Yeah.
after.
Okay.
So the rest of that is mixed residential. I think we could probably look at the general plan and say mixed residential, propose something. Is it R115? Is it R112? Is it R110?
So that's my thing right now is, do we really want to see chunks of really dense housing with nothing around them?
Right.
Or do we let it build out a little and then fill in the holes that are left over with more dense housing once we can support it more.
I wonder if I said this to you guys when we were doing going through the general plan process.
Probably.
Some communities, and I'm gonna say this with a negative connotation, but I'm not,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
spin it. Some communities have to do it wrong to realize that they did it wrong and they gotta do it right.
Most.
Those are the kinds of communities. However, there's also a reason why it happens that way, right? Those are the kind of communities who they have to then go in and do RDAs and infill development and find the little bits and pieces and squeeze things in. And then there's a question of, do they fit there? However, it happens that way because of this very issue.
Anti-growth.
Can we see this lot right here be high density in the middle of a field? And then 2 fields over, another high density, the middle of the field. That's the hardest part. It's uncomfortable, it looks weird, people are gonna say we're crazy, we're not paying attention to what the community wants.
There's a need for that though.
Yeah.
Like, I agree,
There
we
is.
do need high
There
density,
is.
but I just think we have to be careful about
But I think right
where we
now,
put.
but also I think right now, we don't need apartments and townhomes. Those are available. We need single family, small lot homes. So we still go dense, but let's just focus on the single family, small lots.
We
And,
do R15, we've never applied R15 before, we just create that one.
and so as we look at these, that's my thought is, let's go to the single family homes and really push that, because we've got enough of the apartments and townhomes closer to our infrastructure. I really don't like too much of that density away from our core infrastructure.
I kind of like that idea. We're getting a little bit off topic from form based, but it's giving me some ideas to work with that developer on. If they came in with 5,000 square foot lots on average, would you guys be comfortable with that?
I'll show you my affordable housing overlay that I would want to look at to make, kind of like what JDC did.
Okay.
So that we're getting quality, but also kind of capping.
Some of that.
We're not
They come
saying.
in, you should invite Sarah.
I think,
I'm serious.
Oh, maybe.
I think,
I would love that.
I think that what it should be, it could be, is a mixture. I really do. I don't mind the product that they're offering, but I don't think that whole development should be that product.
Agreed.
They cut, what I remember, they cut at least one row of single family on the north end off.
Yep.
And,
The second,
so, yeah, but as far as having some multifamily connected, I'm not against that, because I think there is a need for it. But it has to be the right, it can't be something that looks like you're jamming a great big foot in a tiny shoe.
Right.
And that's what this looks like to me.
you know what they could do? They could start with 5,000 on the outside, or maybe even 10,000 on the outside.
Mhm.
Go to 5,000 and go to some town home.
Well, when I
They
traced,
change their density some, but you'd have something for everybody.
It's gonna hate me, but I hate the commercial thing, 110%.
I couldn't,
I hate.
I couldn't agree
I
with you
hate
more.
the post and date, I hate
No.
that whole thing, because I don't think it's gonna work there. I look at where we have little strip malls and how many things are like still vacant. I just don't like it,
I
not
think
yet.
that's more for a place like Park City.
What you'll get to know about me is that if you push me, like they were pushing me,
I know,
I'm gonna push back as hard as I
I
can.
do like
Or
that.
harder.
They're,
Oh,
they're too.
So it's like, it's like, don't tell me what the general plan says, because this is what the general plan says. But as far as it goes, do I think it's a fit right now or even ever? Ever, maybe,
Yeah, everybody.
but for the next 30 years to 50, no.
No.
No. But do I like the fact that they're gonna come in here and tell us that we can't sell the product that your people said they wanted on this general plan? Bullshit.
they went down passing around. So
And
I do like, and I do like Jeff's theory, maybe if you could keep the bigger
A buffer.
stuff, a buffer. You know, because
Yeah.
it is gonna be hard on that, I think about that, because I just.
I think about that guy on 900 South
Yes.
that's, walked out and then. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess for me, I'm thinking there's plenty of space still for high density infill in the incorporated areas. And I just don't know that it's our place in the county to be building dense housing. Big, it-
Well,
Back
I
in-
do think.
it's ever close.
I
to
think the county they'll lose out though. if We don't have something. towards that direction.
I agree.
Cause it's just like,
Kids wanna. stay
and I'm
where-
gonna speak from age here,
But
in the seventies and eighties, there wasn't nothing north, west, south. Everybody had to come to Ogden, period. And I think that those communities kind of want to get away from that. I think if the county doesn't have that too, they're not gonna have a tax base either.
Yeah, if we could go back,
there's a lot of vacancies just right here with even 12th Street. Where they still say vacant, you know, with those types of things. I know
That's
it's hard.
because the cities are taking that now and saying, we like this commercial because we can build them.
No, I'm not saying commercial, the high density, like, yeah.
Right, but no, but I'm like, but like apartments and that kind of thing, I don't
Not
think
yet.
that we need to do that for sure, no.
Right.
Something that's owner occupied.
More, not yet, and I think we should look at the proximity. Like, if we get developments, and this is what I kind of regret, is I just don't like these small parcels in the middle of nowhere. I think we're kicking our tax base and it's just expensive, to be like, oh, sure. Do this one tiny thing here, and it really puts a big impact. So yes, we need to look at everything, but let's focus on what's closest to the incorporated areas, with more leniency for density, and then kind of, and it'll progress. We will have more, and then we'll look at how it's growing, and be like, okay, yeah, we're ready, let's put them, then there'll be room for commercial just outside of that, and
yeah,
I don't know, it's,
So you're saying a city like Marriott Slaterville, which is totally anti-growth, will eventually have the attitude is, we need some type of growth here to sustain our.
they're.
That's kind of occurred with all cities, but a lot of them make mistakes before they do get anything in.
yeah. One of the things I keep thinking about, when we were doing the general plan process was the statement of, don't make this Syracuse. And Syracuse has some pretty cute areas.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not,
Not
but
fun.
Especially now.
it's not farmland and
That's
it's,
not lying.
it's
They don't have a
single family,
straight
single
road
family,
in that
single
whole place.
The,
family.
the problem with the farmland part of that is that was the best farmland in the whole area. That was the most productive farmland.
Yeah.
I mean, what we have out here as farms was quality of soil wise was nothing compared to Clinton, Syracuse, West Point, that area down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were farming the hard way here, let me tell you.
So when it comes to building community, I mean, we're up against a rock and a hard place, right? Where do we start? And, cause if we don't start, it'll just be, and I say just because in a pejorative way, it'll just be suburbia. With cool parks, cause we're still gonna do that, right? Suburbia with cool parks. Maybe at some,
In Highland, but you have to drive a half hour to get to the grocery store.
well, that's
Yeah,
it,
that's the problem.
that's the point that I was trying to go to, is. At what point do those houses get torn down, some of them, to make room for the grocery store?
Or how much, I guess it's how much do we reserve for commercial and how much do we let grow organically?
So that
That's
is,
the, I think.
that's the question that I need a
That's the
financial
$1 million
analyst to give us. And these numbers, they exist out there.
Yeah.
But I would like them to, a financial analyst to look at this on a macro scale, both, how much commercial to residential have we already over allocated with the unit, with what we've already approved? But also, what's the financial toll that's gonna cause the county? How much are taxes gonna need to go up? How much should we be taxing the developments as opposed to the people who exist here right now and roads are fine, right? When the roads get clogged up in the future, we wanna make sure that it's not the taxpayers who are bearing. the
Maybe
burden.
went to Highlands. I don't wanna be paying for your roads out west. We've got plenty of problems. if
You
went to
can
Highlands.
afford it.
Anybody on the hill,
It's
Higher, home values than we do up in New Highlands.
Get that petition going,
I know.
get it incorporated. You can divorce.
Yeah, that's.
There's a couple of cities right next door that might.
I don't know.
You want Highlands?
I
They
don't,
would want us, but you want Highlands doesn't wanna go anywhere. That's the problem.
nobody wants to annex in.
But they don't want to be charitable to the western people.
They don't want to be charitable to anyhow.
Well, I've told the county commissioners a couple of times, when it comes to these unincorporated areas, you've gotta have the same tax rate or the same taxability as the city does, maybe even that plus one.
So they get
So
out of
that-
the county.
They might save a little money if they go into the city. But, you know, commissioners are looking at this a couple different ways. Nobody wants to be the person who has to raise taxes. I don't see that happening this year, but.
The problem that we have is, okay. If West Haven was to annex their annexation area. I'm gonna say in some regards, problem solved.
Hmm.
Right?
Well, they're the one that they wanted to do, not the one that got adopted.
Well,
Runs along the railroad track out to the river and all the way down.
Yeah. yeah, but that's in their annexation area.
Not yet. They wanted it to be.
Okay,
They kept telling us that to the general plan process, that that's what it is, but they cannot produce a document.
They can't take Taylor, is that what you're saying?
Well, they can't produce a document that says.
Can they
that's
absorb
what they
it
adopted.
as it goes like this?
So they just have to adopt a different annexation declaration.
so through the process.
So, I think what happened was it made it to the planning commission and the council, for whatever reason, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But council members themselves have told me that it got passed, but
It did.
I've been digging minutes, I've been going through ordinances, I've been going through resolutions. And they can't produce anything that says it has been, so.
Well,
If it-
but regardless, we're just talking theory anyway.
Yeah.
But if they were to annex that area, whether they've got it in their declaration or not, if they were to annex it, that takes care of a problem.
Yep.
But their problem is they don't want any growth, they don't want any density.
Right.
They need the density to support that big of an area.
Right.
Because that area is, for the most part, compared to their area, the incorporated areas it sits today, it's much more sparsely populated.
Yep.
So there's much less property tax to collect, and there is absolutely no sales tax.
Hmm.
So, okay. But
Yeah.
if they were to go ahead and do it, and they get their heads out of the sand and bring the density factor into it, like what we're doing anyway.
Yeah.
Then they could generate what is going to be needed. Yeah, it would probably limp for a while.
Yeah.
But it would eventually turn into what West Haven was doing up until about, 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that everybody else around us is going backwards and we're going forward. They've got the support system to make it work from a tax basis, and we don't.
Yep.
So now we're back to where we started. That was a whole trip around the sun for nothing. But do we feel like we wanna bring the code up to date with the plan that we have, or do we feel like it's better to probably look more forward toward a rejuvenation of the plan, of the general plan? I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I see the value of both.
I think we ought to have it in place, just in case something comes up that's right.
The code,
Yeah,
I feel like it's been there for all the years since we did it, and I think one more year of waiting, since we're not forced to take it. It'll only, and as long as, when people come in and you say, just so you know. I don't know that they're going to adhere to this, because we are allowed to do that.
You're allowed to not give them the form-based zone.
Yeah, we don't have to give them the form-based zone, so I worried about putting all the time and energy into the form-based zone when we're not ready to implement it, and I don't think waiting another year or even 2 years is gonna put us
that much closer.
that much closer or that further behind, just because it's been in limbo for so long.
Doesn't mean that.
Maybe when, Bennett starts,
I'll take a break.
well,
when Bennett starts to get their wheels rolling, we'll start.
We've only been complaining for 4 years that you needed to do this, and now we're telling you to hold.
well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because the commission, in the work session on Monday, is pretty much, I don't think they've appropriated, it hasn't gone that far.
No, they told us,
But it's pretty much,
it's gonna be an in-house thing, we're not hiring consultants or anything. Yeah, we'll be doing an update, a small update to the general plan, and then next year. In the budget cycle, if we are successful, we'll have some money to do the bigger general plan update. Transportation and economics.
Successful. Right, if that's more for them to, more arguing power.
Yeah, if we're not gonna grant the form base to anyone.
I mean, like,
I'd say hold off.
using this to say, hey, we need that extra budget because we still have this big project that has to get done at some point, that.
Well,
Yeah.
you've done most of the work. I mean, really the only thing I'm mostly concerned about are these density numbers that I wanna see changed. So if we did just do what you have here to make sure that I mean, is there anything that's significant other than these density things?
Well, images, well, okay. Good
The
question.
problem are the images,
Are
and
we-
we don't want that that's what we have to spend a lot of time doing, okay.
But let's have a look, real quick, let's move on from here to the map that I just handed out. I just mapped this out to see how would the
Is this
form
up
base,
somewhere?
It's this one,
right there.
it's this one, yeah, just turn it, just flip it over.
Right in between you two.
Over there. No, hold on. That one.
That one. There. So I started putting polygons down so you can kind of see the differences between the commercial, so it looks more like Euclidean zoning, but you can ignore those polygons and just focus on the lines. If we take what was adopted for the Bennett and we plug it into what we already have out here for this intersection area, I made a couple of little adjustments to what you see on the screen versus what's in on the paper. But for the most part, it's just integration of that project to the west.
So it does go connect with them, and if they actually, I worry about. We've granted them that zoning, I worry about competing with it.
Mhm. That's a big concern I have.
So that would be my biggest one, where we've got this kind of hub-ish right next to this hub. I'd wanna see that survive, and I'm worried with competition.
It's a concern that the developers have too. The developers have said, why would you consider more density anywhere? You got plenty. You're not wrong. We've entitled a lot of density.
Yeah.
So the developers are like, we wanna be able to sell these. And the more single family you put everywhere else, the less ability we're gonna have to turn this around. Which, to their credit, what they wanna do is expensive. And so if they can't actually get the marketability out of it, then they don't do it.
Yeah.
So that is a bit of a challenge, but it also is a little bit self-serving for them to say, don't allow all those residential over there because they need to come over and buy from me, right?
But we can just see, like,
That'll make the price go down though, a
it
lot.
could, or it might just switch, I mean, like, we'll have a Riverdale Road situation. Where commercial just all goes onto Riverdale Road because they got the land cheap and it killed commercial all around it for decades.
Well, including downtown.
Okay, it killed downtown Ogden, so I worry. If we compete with that, maybe we get to a point where we're like, oh, they're thriving, let's compete, but let's get them going, and then be like, okay, that's out of control, let's compete.
That's what I was thinking earlier, like, how did they make that so successful? Because I was a little kid, but I don't remember Riverdale being like a lot of houses around there. And I mean, it's all commercial now,
was-
so.
It was fun.
Deep farmland,
Yeah,
right?
So like,
The
how did they get
freeway.
all those big box stores without?
Freeway,
The mall and the freeway.
well, they didn't have a mall in Riverdale, but the box stores in Riverdale survived. Well, then.
Cause there was a lot of mom
But
and pop
that's
stores,
not-
right?
yeah,
On
they're
the
very
road
small.
for Anchorage, then you
Because-
think it was a 2-lane road through there. And then it just all of a sudden blew up into everything.
Because they got anchors,
They got anchors on with cheap land.
right? And you got an employment center right next door, which is the base. You've got all of Layton and all of those areas,
And right off the
really
freeway.
quick and easy. And it's right on the way into other jobs that are right in town. And then they got those anchors, and when they built the mall out there, that even further solidified it. People were moving out of downtown left and right to go out there. And that's where you saw downtown kind of take a dive. It's a little bit, I'm a little bit concerned about the Wonder Block, because I'm like, still have some storefronts that are shuttered here, and you're building all this Wonder Block stuff. Same reason, same concern. So it sounds like we're all of the same frame of mind as far as concern goes. If this did move forward with these changes, we don't have to change the map. I'm showing you this map just based off of what putting the two together. It really doesn't mean anything for Black Pine because they've already got what they want, so we're not gonna be rezoning them to the form base. But it just kind of helps us better see how it all fits. However, we could still stick with the existing map and say, look, just because it shows green over here doesn't mean that's green, that's just out of sight, out of mind, focusing on here, if we do anything at all. What would you guys prefer as far as the maps go?
The green is the boundary, that's.
Oh, sorry, the green being like farmland out here.
That's still a farmland out there.
Oh,
But-
that, yeah, that's still farmland right now.
Yeah.
But most of that's not gonna be farmland, it's already.
Gonna be that, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of think having a map that shows us the reality, even though it's not, we're not creating form-based to go to those properties. It is, something that, it shows that we're, thinking about how the network can work and how the land uses work together. It's kind of like a mini general plan, it's a small area, right? However, if this further complicates things, then let's throw it away and just stick with what the map that we have.
Is, maybe I've lost my mind, is Bennett on the west side of the river? They.
Oh,
have-
sorry, that's not the river. That's
That's the slough, but they are on this side.
that's the slurry ponds.
I thought the same.
I was like, that doesn't-
Remembering.
Yeah, so the river is the snake here
Okay, okay,
off the page.
that's, okay, that makes sense, I was like, I didn't think they were on the opposite side of the river.
The other thing that when, if I do finish the map, when I do finish the map, we'll have the polygons on there too, so that the cell boys are when they're looking at it, they could see, look, you can't just do 7 plexes this whole thing. That's not what form-based is. Form-based is transitions, which by the way, they are redesigning. They're coming back with 4 plexes in some areas, so they'll have their 7 plexes and then 4 plexes and then smaller single family. We'll see if they actually hit the mark. I doubt it, but let's just see.
Such a long, on 1150, how much do Bennett own, like, how much of that?
I thought they had 500 and some odd acre.
538, 540, something like that.
How much of, like, along this right here,
Not
do
very
they
much.
actually own?
Wow, that's not great. That,
Are you gonna draw that for all of us?
no, just for these guys over here, you guys have no
I
idea.
get it. I get it.
That makes sense.
I appreciate that you put the key on the back so we can actually see it.
Oh.
So all of this here, they don't own, that's right, I'm wrong.
You got Barlin's, you've got, oh, no, I forgot our names.
Okay,
Rousey's,
Gibson's.
not Gibson's.
so just,
Carrie sold.
Grace, you did so.
Does Ron have any in there?
No, Ron sold.
okay, so Carrie sold, but then Carrie's buying up over here, just so you know.
Which I think Carrie's buying up over there because he knows that we're working on possibly creating a village there.
Just.
But I haven't,
So
but I
he's
haven't
buying-
talked to
he's buying
Carrie.
over there on,
So you just guessing?
But
the old house.
I haven't spoken with him, I just understand a lot.
Some,
I
and the
was
property
thinking
that goes.
get rid-
Oh.
The red is here, because we've got the red through here
Mhm.
and the red along here. And then move the yellow closer to here. I would just really condense how much orange and red we have in this area.
Okay.
Is there a reason for the orange? right
Are
here?
you talking
That's
about Bennett's now?
That is black pine, okay. I just feel like if these guys kind of sold,
Right choice,
you know, what this comes up being right here.
I'm just trying to
And
get
if
caught up
also
still.
this happens, maybe
Me too.
this could be
I've
a
been on
place
this for 4
where
years.
you
Still trying
have.
to get caught up.
So where did we buy it?
So I just.
It's like regular meetings, it's easy to follow. Work sessions, those
So
kinds.
that's my understanding, that this right here, a lot of high density that we don't see anywhere. Viable. Very.
So you guys have background too.
That's why, 100 years, I don't see it.
Right, even Utah City, where they got unlimited density, right? Still not gonna get unlimited, I'm still curious what unlimited means, like what they'll actually produce. Cause they'll just do what the market is asking for. However, is it gonna be high rise, is it gonna be the tallest building in Utah? Cause I think they got unlimited height and unlimited density, didn't they?
Where at?
They were telling us, flagship down on the Geneva.
Utah City.
Utah City, didn't they say unlimited height?
Yeah,
and
unlimited density. It was unlimited everything.
But,
I mean.
but there's a limit when it comes to height, it's just expensive.
Right, so expensive, And
More than 4 stories.
yeah, when you're looking at it realistically, the only reason to go up is because there's no way to go out. Right now, there's a
Yeah.
lot of ways to go out. And not to say that I will support, not to say that out is great.
Yeah.
Right, in my opinion, up is better, less land
For
use.
community,
For community,
for
less-
community it is much better, but it's just not very.
it's not where the market is and it's not where people's brains are, right? Okay. So tighten things up a little bit, so you got less density and maybe we move with the map.
And especially, it's just not so much, I just don't see needing all this commercial area in here. I kind of feel like maybe one little street right here with commercial and where we've got all of this commercial. But
It's fine, we have to her in the car on Tuesday, so she's gonna drive around with me, so when we're talking about where I'm like, Sarah, you gotta come get in the car.
Short
yeah,
country
it's gonna
corner.
show me all
I'm
the,
gonna show her all the things,
yes.
just like, you know,
Okay,
Do you see the?
what I'm hearing is
Crazy then?
if we keep form base in the changes for next week, I'm gonna leave the map alone.
Okay.
For now, we can come back to the map later. Okay,
Oh, I don't know.
But leave it in there because someday,
yes, I won't throw it away. Okay. As far as the density numbers go, we don't have to rezone any property to it, but if we do, we can limit density that way. But do you guys wanna see the code itself?
So looking at, I would limit, knowing that financially, they're not going to do underground parking lots and they're not gonna go over 4 stories. I wouldn't go more than. Yeah, so I think 20 is as high as I wanna see on that first one.
Okay, 20,
And then 4,000 for, instead of the,
3, okay,
instead of 3,
So
and then
whatever that
7
number
about,
is.
yeah, and then it ends up being about 10, about 11. for
Are
the-
you on 243 again?
Yeah, 242.
242.
42.
And then 7,000 instead of 6,000, so it's closer to 6. Because that's where you can do that. We tried to go more dense to that and it just. I just think the 7,000 will make a better community. We can do the small lots in the 4,000, but I think 7,000 will. Give a better blend between the medium and the small or small medium.
So if you do anything with the 1800s,
Oh, and then when it comes to the minimum lot size, so I did page 242, and then the minimum lot size page.
243?
Left the 1,800 on the top, but
Yeah.
knocked it down to 20 units.
Oh, it won't be 1,800, it'll change accordingly, but I put 20, so whatever the 1,800
20 per
is.
acre.
Yes.
Yeah, cause these are the same numbers, they're just written in per acre or.
Square footage, and what did you go to on those, what was the 14.5 or 3,000 square feet?
So it'd be 4,000,
And what about 6?
and then the 7 on that. 6 is kind of a topic the state has been putting for, so.
Which, to be fair, our current code, it's not 6, it's 8. I was the one who did that, put the 6 in, and I was just copying what we did in the residential zone. So if you want 8, we need to go back to 8.
8,000,
Mhm.
I would rather 8.
8,
I just,
that's 5 point something units to the acre. I can't remember what
yeah,
that number is.
yeah,
Okay,
and I would love to be able to go,
So,
like, in our,
yeah.
like, I won't want to zone in the, because we don't have these zones, like, but it's in our code, we're not using them right currently. I
you
would
want
love-
these numbers for the residential zones too?
Yeah, I'd like to see those reflected.
We're looking at all 500 pages. I can slip that
Okay.
in for next week.
I don't mind the 4, I don't wanna go higher than 7. And
You wanna
12
keep
and the 15, I think are fine the way they are, and the rest of them.
You want it as small as 7, so it's
Yeah.
6 units per acre? Okay.
Okay, 7, perfect.
What do you, and that's what I think, so if you guys wanna chime in, chime in.
6 is kind of a magic number right now at the state. And there's a lot of stuff revolves around that 6, so.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. No, that's great.
And then the minimum lot sizes are on what page, of 243.
243.
I have no idea where I put mine.
Right.
So the median you had, that's where the 8 shows up, right, Charlie?
Maybe right there.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
where you can see where it was 8.
Yeah.
43 then.
Oh. No. Oh, it's this, the for, meaning for irrigation law. Median
So,
lot.
Here, I got another stack if you wanna just grab another 243.
Maybe. No, that's the one. Who knows what I do with my papers?
Did I steal yours?
Think so, let's.
So what's the difference between?
Oh, one is the density, honestly,
Overall, if you divide the square foot, the others, well, you
the
can go down the
smallest lot you can
smallest,
put on that.
if you
Oh,
can fit
okay.
it somewhere.
Remember, R115, your density is whatever your gross is divided by 15,000 square feet. But in the R115, you can get 6,000 square foot block.
It takes the engineer says draw that.
What's that?
Takes it to the engineer, says draw that, I can get some change.
Well,
Smallest,
we've had developers do that, come back and say, well, you said 6,000 square feet, like, you didn't read the whole thing. You can
Yeah.
get more than this density, so, yeah. And then they.
but they tend to do that consistently. That is a common thing. So small lot residential it says no minimum, but that one you can build detached houses on, correct?
You can do so we could do a minimum with detached if you want, or we can do. We could put a minimum on it and say, but if it's attached or if it's townhomes or, you know, something like that, then they can get that through PRD.
Kind of just like what it was before, the 3,000, 8,000, 1,250. Cause that's what it is currently, right?
That is what it is currently, but that doesn't match up with the density on, you're
Oh,
actually
yeah.
going to bigger lot sizes than what your density.
Then the density allows. So the small lot residential is at 4,000, so it makes sense to do the 3,000 square feet as the smallest. So that one's okay. The
Okay,
medium,
3,000.
the medium lot residential is the 5. Well, that one was 5,000, so I guess. Oh, no, that was 12. So
Medium was 8,000.
it was 8, and so we're saying divided by 7,000, so I think 5,000 on that one.
Okay.
And then.
That way you can, in your configurations on it.
Not too small, not too big, but, because when I think medium lot residential, anything smaller than a 5,000 square foot lot does not seem medium.
Right.
And then the next one I would go. And that's the yellow one, and 12,000, and you can go as low as 5,000. That wouldn't be that bad if those are both 5,000, but the large lot, I think that 6,000 would be pretty tight. 6,000 isn't terrible.
We just did 6,000 in the R115 and we did it primarily because we're asking for parks and streets, or like,
Yeah,
let's at least give some flexibility
on the medium large lot residential.
on the large lot.
Oh, because that's the 15,000, so if you go, yeah, 6,000 is still, you can build something nice on that. The rural residential. That one I get nervous about actually, and you went to Highlands, because we could end up with some weird stuff.
We wouldn't apply this in Highlands, the form.
Oh, okay,
We're not looking to get villages in the form.
okay.
But we could still go higher though, rural residential. I mean,
Highlands don't like village people,
Well,
maybe they're out on themselves.
it's more about the slopes that make me concerned about the small lots.
Yeah.
As you get people building weird stuff on like those two slopes.
You guys are weird.
It gets weird, yeah.
Oh, you had a third worker.
Okay, and then there's estate lots, I would say like a half acre, I don't know, I can't think about those two.
okay, I wanna recap. Small lot residential, keep the 3,000.
Yeah,
I heard both medium lot residential and medium large lot at 5,000.
yeah,
Both of them? Okay,
or. Yeah, for medium, I just can't imagine. The medium lot residential, it's a 7,000, that doesn't give them a lot of flexibility, I guess, it could go down to 4,000. That's a 6, okay, I would be okay with 4,000 on that one, so we go 3, 4.
That way, if you got odd shaped project, you can work
You
something.
can give something a little bit smaller,
3,000, 4,000,
5,000,
5,000.
6,000, and then I go 10 and 20, because
Okay,
I just
10.
can't see a 1/4 acre lot in the middle of a bunch of 3-acre parcels, that's.
Yep, okay, that's perfect. Thank you. All right, that's the hard part. Now for the fun part. 43. Now I don't know which direction I'm turning.
With carbon Where'd you go for vacation? Any meeting?
Went to the library. All right. I did still yours. Sorry. Okay. 244, right? 43, we're 3 from 244. These are just lot widths.
Here we go again. 244. It was right on the back of the menu.
Is this going along with what we just did for single tree?
This one.
MLRs, huh?
That's 244.
No, we just made an exception for single tree, didn't we? For lot width,
No, not lot width, setback.
setback, that's what it's all.
Yeah.
I like. I like the way,
You like
I
our
wouldn't
what?
go, I wouldn't go any smaller than 40 feet for frontage, even on the small lot residential.
Keep in mind,
Wait.
Oh, those are townhomes too?
townhomes, yeah,
Oh, so
The
they.
pictures I
30
just
feet for
sent you.
townhome? Okay.
that's 30-foot
We didn't
minimum
get
for a
it.
townhome.
Oh, I sent.
Oh, 30 foot minimum, okay, that's
I
fine,
saw
that's
that.
fine.
30, well, it's 30, sorry, let me rephrase.
I would say
30-foot minimum width
Would you say
for a
that?
lot that might have a townhome on it. It could have multiple homes, it could have multiple single.
They must be.
on it, too.
But it would look like
No,
detached.
it'd be 30 because you've got that walkout door on the front door, so yeah, it'd probably be 30 and just a slight side yard, so yeah, probably 30.
There's some tight subdivisions that look really nice if they do it right.
That one does.
I would rather live in that than an apartment. Oh,
For sure.
sharing walls and.
Yeah.
Oh, the terrible thing is, the only reason we have any of this is because we had terrible developers. If we had good developers with great products, we wouldn't even have to do this for the most part. Okay,
Okay, so, but I don't think I wanna go more than, I think I'd keep them at the 50, 60.
They weren't looking at me.
I know, they didn't like.
Okay, thanks.
okay.
The medium lot residential, I don't,
No, you're a good developer. You're on a good team. So 50, 60,
and then you go down to 80, but I wouldn't wanna go down to 60 on the large lot residential.
okay, like lot 80,
So where are we at?
large lot residential.
Every time I put a
And
meeting
then
with Sarah.
residential, like 90 or 100 for those.
Wait a minute.
Perfect.
Wait, whoa.
We're on
244?
244, and this,
The table,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, lot widths.
Where'd we end up?
So 30, and then 50, 60, 80, 90. You guys okay with that?
30, 50, 60, 80, 90.
And then no minimum of that.
Oh, wait a minute, but is that, how does that, how does that formula work with the size of the lot that we determine?
Yep.
That's, I mean, are we gonna have lots that we have minimums and then the lot is 10 feet deep?
So if you got rural residential,
This is
No.
your,
10,000.
this is your frontage.
Yeah, it's just frontage, there's enough to get into that.
That's what I'm concerned about is depth.
Yeah, no, there's enough. So your small lot is, if it's 30 feet, then it'd be 100 feet deep. Sorry, it's not 100 feet deep, what am I,
Yeah.
30 by 100, yes,
You're right.
that's it.
Yes, 100.
Yeah.
But part of that would be your street frontage, which is, wait, no, that's the minimum lot size, right?
Front,
So we're not counting the road, right?
no,
Not counting room.
And then the 4,000 square foot one would have a 50 feet of frontage, so,
88, so it'd be 50 by 80.
yeah, like a 50 by 80 lot.
Okay, does that sound 50 by 80? Okay.
And then the 60 foot would be,
6 is.
that would be, that one we probably want to leave at 50 because we're keeping the minimum lot size. So we'd probably go 50, 50, 80.
Okay.
Good point, Andrew, because that, we didn't get that issue there.
So
And then the large lot and the rural residential are big,
So
so.
6,000, okay, so that's 60 by 100, and then rural. 10,000. That's a. What? Yeah, so we'd be, if it's a minimum of 90 for 10,000. Oh, okay, yeah, 90 by what,
110.
110. Okay, that seems all right. Cool, okay, good. All right, next hard part down, that wasn't the fun one.
Dang it.
Okay.
Got more exciting things.
Flip some pages, you could read through, so some of the green is just, it's policy shift that I think should have probably already been here the whole time, but, not a big deal. Unless you guys
What about uses?
think it's a big deal. Floor area ratio, so instead of, percentage of lot coverage, it's floor area ratio. Floor area ratio helps with the massing. If you've got a 1-to-1, well,
What page you on, Charlie?
sorry, 249. Yep.
That almost sounds like a panic when you say it all together.
So if you got a taller building,
Yeah.
taller building would be more spread out, because you need more lot area essentially. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Lower,
You can put them closer together.
yep. Okay. Hopefully that's not a big deal. Building width and spacing. This is page 251.
I have a question,
I'm
Charlie.
teasing you with the
Charlie,
fun part.
I do have a question. Where did these original figures come from, those things?
From the zone that we had already adopted.
Where did they come from, as study or
Yeah, so when we
city
created,
that's already experienced it, or?
this, we pulled from a variety of different jurisdictions to create these numbers. Yeah. So just looking at what worked in other places. Fun part with doing that is you don't always know unless you call the planner what's actually working.
Yeah.
Right? Does that code actually work? Okay, page 251, this is a brand new table that I'm suggesting we add in, and it tries to better address some of the concerns we had with the Heritage Project.
Oh, yeah, this is attached units or 200 feet, whichever.
Yep, so, and these are generally speaking, the same numbers that we have in the residential, the multifamily residential. However, multifamily residential, we said buildings could be as wide as 280. I thought about that, and I thought about the whole 7 flags on that. Let's say 200, and then have a 10-foot gap, and then start your next building. That will ensure,
Only
the
10
divide
feet,
happens.
only 10 feet. I think we need 20 feet if it's gonna be 200.
But you do 20. The reason why I'm saying 10 feet is not so that the buildings are spread out, it's so that you've got a definitive change in profile.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the brick buildings down here, right? I know what I don't like about it. As you trace the ridge line from one side to the other, it's flat all the way across. You got a lot of variety on the
Oh,
facade.
but it's a roof line that's.
The roof line, that's the bunker feeling, right? Put a gap in the middle. If they had just split some of them apart or dropped the roof for part of it or elevated it, it would have broken that up and it would have been. I would have had no.
On that one, I agree, because it break it up enough with only 10 feet.
If 10 feet that,
Yeah.
These two tables together.
Yeah, and you got 2- and 3-story buildings that far apart.
Yeah, for you
So
guys.
keep in mind, you've got 5-foot
is that 10
setbacks
feet, is that 2 feet?
in the residential zones.
You're continuing to roof that?
5-foot setbacks,
5, side setbacks.
side setback.
Yes, only if it's a 1-story. If it's 2-story, it has a 7-foot, right? Did we put that in?
Yes, we did put that is in there.
Yeah, I think so too, I think it should be bigger than 10.
Well, I think maybe your table should just divide it up more, because like, small lot residential, I think 10 would be okay, wouldn't it? For some of these houses that are like, picture the city, like if it's just a straight up thing, it's only a 30-foot wide building, house. 10 feet's plenty of room.
Right.
I mean, that's a third of the size of the building. right?
Yeah.
So I think like the last one should have its own box of 10 feet.
Okay.
Unless I'm thinking completely different.
Well, I think you might be thinking what I was thinking, but go ahead and finish your thought.
No, I think that's it. Don't let me think anymore. I'll mess us all up.
Okay, wait.
Let's say that the
So
same
the
time.
last box, the yellowish colored, small lot residential,
Mhm.
that should only be 10 feet between the distance between each building in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay. What about multifamily?
Multifamily, I think,
Right.
so it's townhomes, right?
Townhomes, it could be
But
townhomes, it
small
could
lot
also be
residential
stacked.
is too, right?
Small lot residential, you could get up to 4 townhomes.
So it goes from either 1 to 4.
How about
But
10 feet
now-
or a percentage of the width of the building?
You do that.
Cause then it would just be greater as you, like you want to do a 200-foot building. So it would have to be 10 feet or 10% of the width. So at 10% of 200 would be 20 feet between buildings.
So think about this as the small lot residential and the multifamily. These are your brownstones. These are your row homes.
Oh, if you're trying to get a row home look, that's what you're thinking?
That's what these are intended to create.
These are meant to be close together.
So yeah, usually you just have a small alley between buildings,
I see what you mean.
but
Why is
it can
that?
be whatever you guys want.
Well,
Your charge.
if they were building beautiful brownstone buildings, I would be more inclined to accept that, but we're seeing stucco palaces.
Yep.
Or,
Stucco's not allowed in this.
oh, sorry, that board and bat.
I was
houses.
told to be answered, but I had to.
Oh.
So,
I think in our code,
I think
we can't.
I think if you
restrict
left,
stucco.
just added what Sarah said, that would probably be sufficient. If you said the 10 feet, you don't need to create another box for mine.
Whichever one is.
So it's 10 feet, because it's at least 10 feet, right? 10 feet or 10%.
10% of the
So if you
building.
had a fourplex, let's just say that's 4 times 30, right? If we're saying that would have, what's it,
120.
how wide's a townhome, Jed?
25 feet.
25?
22.
Okay, so it's 100
That's
feet.
Sarah.
So yeah,
So maybe.
so what did you say, what did you recommend,
10%?
3%? 10%.
So if it's 100 feet,
Yeah,
it'd be.
so,
10 feet.
so it's still 10 feet.
Walk in, you have
Right.
stairs that go up, you got.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
that's what I
she's
do.
supposed to
Then you
do
get to 20.
Okay.
That would mean exactly the second.
Yeah.
Perfect, Sarah, you're a genius.
What was it?
You had the idea and we.
Oh,
you-
10 feet or 10% of the building,
Yeah.
whichever is greater.
I'll give you.
Between the buildings.
Between.
yeah,
Which width are we taking the 10% of?
The largest building on either side, I don't know. Or how about 5% of the buildings on either side? And then,
Supposed to be an emergency.
That gets it complicated, but.
it'd be 10 feet.
Okay, so we're talking about 10 feet to 20 feet, essentially, really 200
Yeah.
feet is as big as we are allowing, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, between 10 and 20, is there really that big of a difference? Does 5 feet make that big of a difference?
oh, if it's
I
one of
guess it
those.
does.
it depends on if it fits or not.
Yeah,
Visually, if you're right, my concern is if they're gonna put a row of garages, I want a big space between.
That's addressed in here.
Okay.
No front facing garages.
If it's truly is a brownstone look, I'm not as concerned about having a big gap between the buildings.
I see what, yes, I 100%
Does that make
agree with
sense?
you.
Yes, does that work? But if it's a row of garages,
I'm leaving how Charlie has it done, fine.
Okay.
So it currently doesn't say no front facing garages, but I am proposing that for the mixed use commercial, multifamily residential, small lot residential. If it's a front facing garage, it's gotta be back really far. So
Okay.
it'll really disincentivize in doing that. They'll be creating rear load at that point. So, and then once you go above that to the single family, then you can have your front facing garages. As normal. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
10 feet, okay.
I'm so sorry to get us off on a tangent, but with what you just said though, with the rear facing. Has anybody been in those developments where they have the rear facing garage? Where you have basically a road with the rear facing garage and then the front of the house or townhome. Do we have another road? Not always, but like, I'm thinking like. My family's property on 21st Street. Remember, like now it's all townhomes, like tons of them down off behind, what business is there? K-Bell Plumbing, anybody know where that's at?
Yeah.
So down in there, the pump
Wilson
property,
Lane,
yeah,
right, yeah.
off of Wilson Lane, that's how they have their rear facing. But it makes it to where the front of their home, technically the front of their home, like, doesn't get used. You know what I mean? Everybody's still going in the alleyway anyway, so now, is it really a front facing garage if it's, or a rear facing garage if everybody's just shooting the rear anyways, that becomes the behind of what?
The front of the home. The front of the home shapes the public road. It's not, it is theirs, it's their property, but it's everybody's experience. Back of the home, that's what they do what you want.
But
to
are we
do.
always putting a road on there? Because sometimes it's just a pathway, right?
Well, we were only thinking that through special consideration for
Okay.
that project. We were gonna replace a road with a pathway, basically.
But what Casey sent you a picture of, those are, garages are on the front, correct?
But they're not townhomes.
But they're not time, they're
They're single,
separate.
yeah.
But he was saying that on small, what did you say on that?
Small lot residential,
Right,
on which,
yes, what'd you say
Yeah,
about garages
same
on
thing.
that?
oh, so the small lot residential. Maybe if we say if it's a single family, you could have the front facing garage, but if you're doing multiples, it's gotta be.
I have to see your
Yeah,
picture.
where's your
Yeah.
plan?
What time of day was it that you were going through there? Was it
I'm
after
just saying,
5?
My picture, no, it was not after 5.
I wonder what the car situation looks like after 5, because the townhomes by us,
311,
so I wonder what it would look like.
it's the first image here.
Yeah, driving down a row of garages, I don't.
Where the Boston Grounds used to be in Roy,
And I'm
on
not
the west
saying
side of the
it's best
street,
way, I'm just saying
on the
it's
west side of, what is that,
I just
4300
remember that was
west?
the back of the house.
4,300.
I've never asked you. Are these the backs?
Just south of
Back.
50.
I love that for the front.
Those might be connected,
But-
they may not
But
be
would
single.
you use it in the front, like, it looks good, it's a bright street in the back, it gives you a sense of community with that.
Be like Casey.
So that's the question.
It's like we just wrote a
If
big
this,
long.
if the back is the public realm, the sense of community, right? Then their version of the front would just be their private space, right? Where they park the garage and where they enter their house.
Right.
And they have some.
So I had a friend of mine who, she had a townhome that was facing the street. Right across the street, there were single family dwellings. That development didn't allow single family dwellings to have front facing garages. So they had a few different townhome buildings and they were all rear load. We never went through the front door, except one time I asked, can I go out the front door just to see what it looks like and feels like? I went out there and I went out to the street. It was only like 10 feet set back from the street. I went out to the sidewalk and I said, okay, I mean, this is yours, but this is everybody's. So that it really shapes that public space and then the private space gets to be.
No, I mean, I've stayed in Seven St. George, really like that too.
But the yard access would be
It's,
the.
yeah, it's more, but you can say that nobody's using that front space really.
It's a facade for the public, is
Right.
basically what it ends up being.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why the front setback gets so small in these areas, because we don't want to force big lawns, big front yards or anything like that. Kind of constrain it so it shapes the street. So it really is the public realm.
So, sorry to go to the building setback thing, but this is where I would be worried about wanting more area between the buildings, because we're not saying they need a common space, and they have no common space if they don't have 20 feet between buildings. You know what I mean, like anywhere to go outside.
Mhm.
Cause your front yard is on the street, your backyard's in the alley.
Well, keep in mind, there is floor area ratio,
Oh, okay, there you go.
so they still have to meet those.
Okay, so they have to have some open space.
Does anybody use common space anymore? Like I go for walks. Do most people do that other than a place for their dogs to take crap?
When I lived in a community like that, I used it with my kids, like, we did have a little backyard, we probably had. I don't even know, it wasn't very big, maybe like 20 feet deep by like 40 feet.
Okay.
20 by 40
That's
feet,
probably what these have.
yeah, of backyard space, and then the common space, we didn't even have, we, even just a retention basin, we would go in there and hang out with our kids and they climb the rocks. I mean, we did when the kids were little. But yeah, I don't know how much they use common space, but sometimes even just a place to let your dog run around. I don't know, I don't have a dog.
I'm not
but my
against it,
children
I
run
mean, I
around.
think
But how
it
much do we
makes it
need?
so people
Yeah.
are there. If you are using that, that's how, I mean, I met a neighbor the other day when I was walking and I've lived there for 8 years and it's the first time I've ever met him, but just because they're not social, right? Like, and whatever, but so provides that opportunity, but I don't know if it's worth forcing it if it's not really utilized.
Yeah, and we don't have any requirement for common, it's just floor area, so, maximize what you think you can maximize, the difference of that goes towards parking, goes towards landscaping, goes towards common, if common happens. Cause I think the reason, I really like this, I think one of the reasons it works is because the massing goes above the garage so high. So like, instead of seeing a snout house with a window above it and a side door, you're seeing like the top two stories kind of feels like it's the house. And then you can almost imagine the garage being sunk into the ground.
And then it feels like San Francisco, that's really, if you look at, it would be kind of a mess here because you don't really want a sled into your.
No, it'd be horrible.
And the water table, I don't think we could sink the garages, but that's what they do in a lot of brownstones, is that you're walking in on the first level, not the basement level.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love these or not, but it was something different than I hadn't seen. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's really scary, because literally it's like being in this room straight up, right? Like,
Did you feel when you're, I guess just eye level driving down that street and only seeing garages, I would feel like I was in someone's alleyway, and if that was a public street, I
which
just
to
don't
me,
like
I
that.
didn't feel that way when I was
Okay.
driving through it, but especially when you got it, I mean, this is that first picture that you're on right now, that's like when you first come in. But then they had, which I thought was kind of interesting too, they had windy roads through it as well, like that's coming around the corner, right? But,
So you were taking these from inside your car.
yeah,
So you had a view from ground to rooftop without having to really crank your neck. Looking at the angle of the picture.
Yeah,
So if you're walking along that street, it seems like, to me, to your point, it's probably not as closed in feeling, or at least that's my term for it, is what I would think it is, cause I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as what you're saying, Sarah. But it looks like to me, just from the angles of these pictures, that because of like what Charlie was saying, and because the houses are across from each other, the road is wide enough that you can see from top to bottom without having to just look at a section of the front of the house. You can actually see the whole front of the house.
How wide were their roads?
it's great. Can you just pull it up on Google Maps, turn it up, you know how you can drag your little dude to.
Yeah.
It's great view.
Oh,
I
and
do like like we stayed in Colorado, they didn't have, like, wasn't the garage, you had to drive around the back to get
Yeah.
into the garage, and that looks really nice.
So,
It does.
so the public never sees the back of the house.
Yeah.
Those are private roads.
I mean, unless they drive down the private road, but
Which
it's
is
not their
good,
place to be.
Right.
but your address is on the front.
Yeah. And the thoroughfares are on the front, like, unless you're going to those houses, you're not gonna be driving through the alleyway. Yeah, to get, like, that would be your means of getting.
Unless you're lost.
Unless you're,
I'll tell you the only thing I didn't like about it is we parked
So much
like
for.
out on the street in the front to unload the cars, right? And all I was worried about was where I was gonna step it off. Because that's where the grass was, so I kept thinking to myself, everybody watch where they're stepping, so we don't step in somebody's dog practice, this is where they're gonna take their dogs. Did you see anything about that? I didn't see. But I kept telling everybody that, don't do that, cause we can't track it into this people's house, you know, cause I thought that's the only place they're gonna take their dog,
Yeah.
is where the grass is.
but usually in that situation, they actually do pick it up right after.
It's not non-existent.
Not,
No,
I mean,
that
we
does
can see it
happen.
from
There
above.
are
though.
some places that find you if your dog goes in.
So can I change?
Yeah, a lot of
They can
HOAs.
DNA it.
Oh, yeah, and DNA, yeah.
Yes, they do.
Really?
I'm
Are you
not
serious?
kidding.
They waste that much?
It's not a big deal.
Casey, I'll try and get down there and take some
It's no
pictures.
big deal. I just,
See you next time.
I'm sure there's other developments I just happened to see.
Well, how did
Great
it feel? 20 feet?
Honestly,
30 feet?
for somebody that's always against that kind of stuff and was like, ugh, it's so small and so whatever, you
Then
know.
you stop.
I'm like, this actually seems like a nice neighborhood. So-
Well, so we were talking last time about the width of townhomes, I'm thinking, well, I better not tell them that
It's,
the townhome that I owned it just before the house that I have now. It was 16 feet wide on a 5-plex. And you walk in the door, 3 feet, stairway going up. You got, what was it, 12 feet? 12 feet or so of a living room. Dining area behind it, kitchen behind it. Tucked under the stairs, you had a bathroom. Right behind the bathroom, you had a closet for your
Vacuum.
for your laundry.
That was the first place, same place, same type of thing. that I looked
But
at.
they're all
And I
kind
felt
of
like it
have
was-
the same plan.
And when I look back, I'm like, oh.
It's just wider.
I had another, do you have another story?
Yeah, so you go upstairs, it had 3 bedrooms and 3 2.5 bathrooms.
Oh, you were living in society. Yeah.
So high, so. One of the bedrooms, I will say, was more like you could put an exercise bike in it. It was the minimum size that a bedroom could be under code, but still enough to be a bedroom. Anyway, so those are possible and it's actually a pretty cute area. It's a very cheap complex. But it, well, actually, I'll show you.
I just want to inherit.
But. Oh, my God.
Downstairs, that was great, 'cause you open the door and you're in your living
Oh,
room.
in 2000?
It's right there.
Is it on 2000?
The Conway, whatever.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, that's not in 2000, that's, no.
that's whatever first. But they look like that, yeah.
He's done right.
So just the vinyl siding, cheap shutters, you still had straight roof lines. But they were broken up, that's one of the widest buildings. They were broken up enough and then the grounds were maintained really well. It has a nice fence that wraps around it. Kind of
It's a
a,
ways from the street though, I mean, it's got a lot of,
it is a ways from the street.
imagine that right up close to the street with another building 10 feet away from it, cause that's what we'd see.
Mhm.
And that's a full road.
This is the full road, but once you get inside, that's all private.
Oh,
So,
I see.
My front door was right here, right onto the river. A beaver dam built a dam right here.
Huh.
And the river flowed around and took about 12 feet of my front yard.
Oh, shoot.
You gotta shoot those beavers.
I made a few phone calls. Dam was gone pretty quick after that. Okay. We've got just a little bit of time left, and I think that we can probably dive through the rest of this stuff. Because we're just talking from here on out about building design. And I'm just showing you. Make sure I'm looking at this right. Okay, so
What page?
flip back to page 257.
We haven't flipped forward yet, but okay.
Oh, sorry, flip forward, page 257.
Alright.
Okay, just a real quick architectural statements, because we're allowing all of these architectural styles to be in the same village. I was a little concerned about and very stark differences between buildings. And so I just, this paragraph here basically says, if your building is a different design type, a different architectural theme than the one next door, you can provide some elements to integrate it so that it brings it into, well, just makes it a little bit more cohesive. So you're not in such stark different between buildings. Is that okay? You guys okay with that?
I'm okay with the stark difference, because I'm like, one is doing an agrarian and one's doing Old West, and then so they just put a silo on one and an old beam on the other, like, you know what I mean? I just don't know how they should.
I see what you're saying.
Do you remember years ago, we wanted the shed to, one of the codes says that it should like mix into the scenery, and so somebody proposed a different color on every side of the building. Cause no one would be looking at the building from the corner in their mind, and it matched whatever was behind, there was a green side and a red side.
I remember
They were
that.
literally.
I remember that coming in. I do.
Two color.
So let me read it to you, just so you can see what it says. So regardless of the architectural theme used, no less than 5% of a building's street facade, excluding glazing, shall be comprised of architectural elements observable on another building's street facade within 100 feet. Incorporation of such elements shall be distributed on the facade in a manner that allows different architectural styles to aesthetically transition or blend from building to building. And applicant's submittal shall clearly identify, illustrate, and explain its compliance with this part.
And I'm okay if the buildings are just distinctly different, as long as they're fitting an architectural style. I think it's okay for, this is an Old West building, this is an agrarian building, this is I mean, you go through a neighborhood, they'll have a modern building next to a contemporary building, a traditional building. It doesn't bother me if
It
they're,
could feel hodgepodge, it could feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Now hodgepodge is the only one that's in
I
the.
feel like there's gotta be some flow, but I think it's better if they do mix up maybe a little bit.
A theme.
Yeah, a theme.
Stick to a theme or
Well,
so many, but how do they?
I feel like with the types of things that are being built, that it gives you that better product when you require them to be the same.
Yeah, and we're trying to get away from cookie cutter, so as long as they,
So I like it to be a little bit different.
definitely different. So this allows completely different architectural styles to be right next to each other. It just requires 5% of this building, 5% of the facade, excluding windows, so you're just talking about little areas. 5% of it to have design elements that come from a building with an underneath.
I think I would just go with
What is
separate.
that design element? We
Yeah,
got a rectangle window.
It's what they choose.
So
They'd be,
Get rid of it, right? If it's.
yeah, so they'd be entitled, they have to show, that's why it says you have to clearly explain how you're integrating this. They would have to show what articulation they're bringing from another building to blend that building a little bit more.
It's hard, cause you always get the extremist that's like completely different.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're guarding against right there.
But
What Sarah's saying is, I'm good with that. Plus, I know her, seems to have pretty good taste.
Yeah,
But
they-
but I also know
Right.
that if you spread that open for some people, you can get something that is extremely different.
right,
Yeah.
But does it matter when we're looking at large buildings? I mean, I don't know.
how large are you thinking?
Well, I don't even know, large or small. I think I would rather see every home like entirely different than to see everything kind of the same.
What does different and the same mean to you in that context?
Okay.
Are we talking about flip-flopping, the same exact building?
See, I would rather see completely different. I'd rather see completely different buildings next to each other than a flip flop next to each other.
Okay, good, I'm on the same page with you.
What is it, Cammy?
Well, I mean, I think you can have a flip flop next to each other depending on what the exterior is or like little things that you change, right?
Oh, they can, yeah.
Like, you know what subdivision I like right now is the one that's behind Canesville Elementary. No, it's not Canesville, it's further down.
The one that
Maybe-
has the
I
Padero.
mean, the end
Our
is
house?
by development agreement. If they
That's
show
that, they have all
elevations
the
that
big
look whack,
houses
we'll
and then
just
the
say
water
that looks
inside
whack.
of it.
No,
So-
the
right,
one,
so
you're going down 3500
If
across from
this
Private L's.
without a development agreement,
Oh,
that's
If you
where.
drive.
Oh,
on-
like
The one that Sarah hates too.
Yes,
Going up
development
there.
agreement, we can say whatever. Say.
Further south.
You're right.
Further south,
But
but
like,
like it's off of the road where the guy has the stop sign that he's like everyone keeps. Stop sign.
That, I mean,
Yeah,
that's even,
well,
that's what I.
The brand new one they're putting in.
Yes, it's right.
Yeah, property.
And they're, it's like the exact same house and all that Dennis put garage on one side, garage on the other
Yeah,
side.
something else.
But they're the exact same, every single lot.
But
Oh, it's so
spread out a
terrible.
little like that. you get
That is
The
terrible.
transition in the
Yeah.
phases.
This is part of Brooksville, but I don't get it all.
Where's that 10% thing? The more-
And there's some like that. over behind
No,
our end.
I think I have that.
Oh, is there?
A few,
I think
not
we did
bad,
that,
but
that
there's
would
a
help
few.
solve both issues, because then it really would have to be broken up enough that it's not. But even brownstones and row houses will be completely different next to each other.
So here's the difference. 10% of building or 10 feet, whichever is greater.
I say I'm going back to that distance.
I'll find a way to make it work, and as long as I know that. I'll just choose which building, or maybe it's an average of the two or something like that.
I think, honestly, when I'm thinking about this, I think we're gonna have more of a problem like with what you just said. We're not gonna have a problem with people wanting to be extremely different. It's
No.
they are gonna want them to stay the same. So
Yeah.
by us requiring that little percentage of them to do, they're going, I don't care, it's gonna be the same building next door, right?
The big problem, yeah, market demand, and everyone has one concept they want to. Right now, it's like, oh, everyone wants, like farmhouse, that's what they say, and I'm like. Go,
You see some pictures in just a couple of pages.
I did 2 years ago until we saw something.
traditional or temporary.
I already seen a size of everything now.
Windows, which we do have a definition, a new definition for glazing.
Okay.
The previous word we were using was fenestration. It's glazing, what's glazing, windows doors.
Like, and people go right now.
Speaking of glazing.
Someone up there like.
Yeah.
I know what my.
Camera fell asleep.
Like
Glazing over way different than.
Wait,
I don't know how you did.
Tammy's glazed.
well, no, attention, because this is all gonna play into the general plan amendment coming up. Yeah, I am looking at my watch going, I'm out of here at 8:30, so.
Yeah, we got 10 more minutes, which, I think we can fly through the rest of this. Just gonna flip pages with you, but I wanted to tell you, I don't know that my concern about starkly different buildings is actually gonna play out. Because the design standards, even though we have different themes,
They're very
they're
similar.
pretty dang
Yeah.
close. And so your massing, your form, your position to the street, how much it's gotta be broken up, your glazing, that
This
kind of
doesn't
stuff.
apply to single family homes.
No, no,
Cause
this,
it can't.
this doesn't even apply to the small lot residential.
Okay.
Just multifam, mixed use commercial, vehicle oriented. Okay, so let's flip some pages then. So we got, 6. You see, I'm over here on 259. We're under Old West architecture. I was showing you in green just the new stuff we're putting in here. This is just tightening it up a little bit so we're not gonna get junk, right? You can feel free to review that in your time. Flip the page, we still have
Hey,
the,
let me just ask you a quick question, I'm sorry. So we're still talking about like row houses, right? Or is this single family?
Commercial,
not single family.
Okay.
nothing.
This does not apply to single family at all.
In your single family, do you have vinyl and stucco being prohibited?
We don't have
Okay,
standards for single.
We're not allowed to by state code.
okay.
So is that true? You said that, and I need to look that up.
I'll send you the new code thing. I was following the tough bill.
Because we
They
wanna
did a bunch of weird
keep
stuff,
saying we
so.
want affordable housing, but sometimes that's not enough for them to get affordable.
I agree. We can determine our standards.
Yeah.
You can have like standards, you can't just say what exact materials. So if they can give you an aluminum siding that gives you the, whatever, our values or the protection, I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah, send it over.
I think we're all.
One page.
Yeah.
What's that?
Building materials. This is on
Situation
condos,
here.
Building.
Commercial and multifamily.
Great China.
And not the small lot residential town hall.
so they can have no stucco on a town.
So they're good Chinese.
Or with-
Small lot.
Not the small lot. So on the multifamily buildings,
Family.
where are you seeing no stucco?
Right here on like 4623.
So this is Old West contemporary architecture.
Okay, okay.
So you're not gonna see a lot of stucco in Old West,
Yeah,
But-
that makes sense.
but it is allowed in some of these other things.
Okay.
So, so flip the pages. Okay, now next one is ranch agrarian. We just added the ranch
Page,
to it, so that's page 262. So we beefed up windows, you'll find that all of them, we beefed up windows, we put Main Street emphasis and special features. Every single one of them have those 3 categories added, which will help us, I think, integrate these together. Okay, flip the page, you can see these are the hand sketches that are already in the code, but I plugged our standards right into, this is page 266. I plugged it into ChatGPT, every single standard that we have, and I said, you have to adhere to this. And then you have to tell me exactly how you adhere to it, just make sure they did. And I asked it to actually have a number of other ones, but farm ranch, that's how it could look in a mixed use residential area. Right, there's your board back.
In the background, good job, Charlie.
What's that? Oh, yeah, I said Mount Ogden, Lewis Peak, or Ben Lomond has to be in the background.
Developer that could use your expertise.
I spent a little bit of time with the ChatGPT because it was not giving me what I wanted, and so I had to figure that out.
So does the bottom row there substitute as a church? It's like a cross on top of the.
You know what? It might be the church.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the community church. Okay, next.
Church and liquor store.
Modern Alpine, I kept the same images, but just put windows, Main Street entrance and special features section. Next, Mountain Modern, same thing, just kind of beefed up those little sections, and then I added. So you kept the image, but then added in Mountain Modern, a few more buildings, so you could see on page 275, 276 and 277. This is what AI gave us on Mountain Modern. Which seems to work, and it seems like if you have that building right next to the church barn right next to an old west building, they probably would all work
Okay,
together.
fine.
Okay. Next, drum roll, please. What is this one? Rustic structural architecture. So this is the architecture type is already in the code called rustic, but then this is what AI spat out. So page 280, page 281.
Maybe the word.
Okay.
Couple of them I had to put into Photoshop because it was showing exposed lights and it didn't comply with the dark sky. Anyway,
He does not follow code.
not all the way. Okay, next one, I kind of like, this is the traditional Wasatch contemporary architecture. The brand new one, this is 282, this is the new design theme that we talked a little bit last time. And then you could see the types of images that it spits out. I mean, it's kind of an eclectic blend of all of them, in my opinion.
Get out of the road. Dog's gonna get run over.
Okay, any questions or concerns? You guys can read through the actual architectural standards that go with that, see if I'm being a little bit too heavy-handed. I'm concerned about not being heavy-handed enough. We want to make sure that great designers, the great builders, they can do what they want within the within their market constraints, but then the people who just want to build and get out and make a buck, that they actually have to be held to some standard. So. As far as the rest of that goes, deleting out on page 316, deleting out the transferable development right. So, good job, you guys. We made it through right on time.
You're taking the TDRs out. Okay.
So next week,
So now, what's the expectation? Tuesday.
It is,
What do we got? What are we doing on Tuesday?
okay, so if you guys are okay with the 500 pages that's in your email, then we go in, we'll have a hearing, take comment. If you guys like it, you can pass the recommendation on to the county commission, or don't like it, pass negative. If there are things that you want pulled out, just make that part of your motion. We want everything that's here except for the form-based zone changes, leave that out, we'll work on that separate. Or,
might be one other person on the. I don't know if I can do another meeting.
what's that?
I don't know if I can do another meeting this long next week.
Oh, no, next week it's just a potential rezone. So someone's just coming with a concept plan. Yeah,
But no work session.
it'll be a work session.
Because I do.
Yeah, but I don't see
The only
it
thing
more
on
than
the
half.
agenda will be this.
This for the regular and then probably half hour discussion.
And on
What's
that
up?
other
You can
one,
do another one? These are great. I'm really fun.
I have to another.
I like hanging out with you guys.
I don't know that I can get through 5 weeks.
Most of it is just scrolling, honestly. It's not as intense as this stuff.
I do think the 8 point.
is he still?
Was Jerome safe? I
I
was
can't
gonna-
figure out why Sarah doesn't want to spend more time.
Well, guys, I'm having a party up at the library if you want to join them here. No.
What do you call the library? The thing across the street?
Depends on who decides to come. If y'all come, I'll take you to the real library, but,
No.
This owl stays in here, just so you're aware, that's
Okay.
our owl.
And you.
What else do I need to?
I have it.
Yes, thank
I
you.
told you I take care of the other stuff.
Summary.
That need to be shut down, Charlie.
And that covers the whole thing, right?
Hey,
But I
Tammy,
have-
where are we recording from?
Mary.
Is it,
Yours? I don't know, I noticed.
this computer?
The laptop out, I don't know.
No.
Could he? Are you not hosting from yours?
oh, there we go.